to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. Two more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That old workflow had to go. Now it's simple, fast, and clean. All inside one single screen. Desktop set, I press and play. Build my audience every day. From my voice to what they see. This is how it's meant to be. 10 subscribers, you're in the game. 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast streams are coming through. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Whoa. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack
Studio Spotlight. Oi! Hello! It's Keith Keller, Melbourne, Australia. And look, we're having so much fun.
Oi.
Oi!
He's not Oi anymore. We can still call him Oi.
Oi.
No one knows what that means, but I'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
We
We
are
got
live.
it in just in time. Just in time.
We are
Nailed
live.
it.
Way to go. Way to
We
go.
lost him. We lost him. We are live. We are live on LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube simultaneously using a site called Restream, which I love. I love it. And this will be our template for what to compare it to. What we're actually going to do today is we're going to compare it to Substack Studio, which by all accounts is quite basic, but it's very good for the price.
Can't beat it.
It's very good for the price because it's free. So Substack has invented a new idea called Substack Studio. We're going to talk about that today in the context of what Substack is doing and how it compares to, for instance, LinkedIn or School or the other sites that we're using for networking. You know, I've cracked 1,000 followers this week, and I've only been on Substack a year. And more importantly than the numbers, people are talking. We're having fun. We're talking to each other. I've noticed that on LinkedIn, and please correct me if I'm wrong, no one talks to each other anymore. No one answers my DMs. We're all just sort of highlight. Guess what? I won an Emmy. Hey, guess what? I just went to the shops. Hey, I bought an ice cream, and I've been here 20 years, and they gave me a present. Hey, good on me. I've been here 20 years. Hello. No one's talking to each other. Everyone's vanity, what I call a virtue signaling, you know. I shouldn't say too much because I keep getting restricted on LinkedIn, and now I know why. But this show is live, and it goes out on those 3 platforms. But most importantly, there is a replay also on YouTube. So I'll spend just a couple of minutes for the replay viewers. We're going to talk about Substack Studio today. And if you want to join us live, please do. And we love this Brady Bunch look. Right? But what we're going to talk about today in the Substack Studio concept is, what is this thing they call Substack Studio? Is it any good? Is it worth trying? What does it do? We're going to talk a lot about that. We're also going to talk about what it doesn't do. Its video editing feature is quite poor. I'm just going to say it because, you know, someone's got to go first and test this stuff. And so we're going to compare it to a site I'm hearing a lot about called Opus Clip. The format for group discussions is really atrocious. You can only have a maximum of 3 people. So we're going to compare it to School, which has an unlimited amount. 10,000 is the limit, but that's really unlimited. So we're going to talk about that. And I think it's important that we have a discussion about what are the alternatives for what's going on. But let's start with Steph. I don't know you, Steph, and welcome to the call. What's your take on School and Substack and all these cool sites? What are you playing around with, and what's important to you?
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here. To be fair, I don't know that I'm using Substack Studio as robustly as maybe you've been testing out, but I am in School and a couple of communities. I think the thing that's most important to me is having real human connection, you know, and that's where I think LinkedIn can fall down sometimes, and why Substack is so good, is you can reach out to somebody and read something and connect on a human level.
Yep.
So I really appreciate that about Substack. School can do the same thing, but there's a lot more variation. I don't know if you're finding this, but there's some School communities that are really good, and some feel vast, and it suffers from the same problem as LinkedIn. So I still feel like Substack is the coziest, if you will, the most human and good for connections.
I agree. I really want to pick up on this because I've been on LinkedIn for 20 years, but no one's talking to me. I mean, I've got 25,000 connections, but they don't answer my emails, right?
Yeah.
They don't answer my DMs. I mean, I'm thinking, what? 169 people registered for this call. And how many people are here, right? None of them.
Yeah.
Please
Well, this is the thing. It's so noisy out there right now. It's inundated, and it's just easy to do that, and then add AI on top, and it just gets magnified even more. And I think it's not unusual to have that happen, unfortunately. And so the question is, like, how do you connect when you've got something to say, or you want to connect other people? Where do you go, and how do you do it?
Yeah.
That is a challenge I think about a lot, because it is so busy out there, and there's so much noise coming at us from the time we get up in the morning until the time we go to sleep at night. And even overnight, we wake up in the morning and you've got all the messages, but not all of them are real. I think that's the other problem. It's just
our friend Bez, who might come on the call, said, "Oh, mate, come to my next session," talking about overnight. And I said, "Mate, that's 2 a.m. for me. 2 a.m. I can't. It's already gone. Like, by the time I got the message, I was in bed. I woke up and it already finished. So, that was Mike in New Jersey, who's a very regular on the call, and he actually uses YouTube to make comments, because LinkedIn's live streaming form is very bad. Like, it's unusable. So, and I better not say that too much because I keep getting restricted there, but LinkedIn isn't a community building platform. I don't really know how to describe it anymore, but let's have that discussion. But the questions I really want to tackle first with everyone in the group is, what is Substack Studio? What does it offer? How does it compare to school? And how does it compare to Opus Clip? And so let's start first with what it is. Substack Studio allows you to pre-record content with your camera on or your camera off. It allows you to get the transcript. It allows you to download the video and download the audio and do something with it. Right? Now that in itself sounds glorious. What a great idea. And it is, but it's quite basic in all of those features. Like the video editing feature is almost non-existent. The transcript's very good. The clipping feature is quite basic, and it didn't work for me when I was practicing with it in June. The live streaming feature or the group feature only allows 3 people, 1 and 2 others. So, as I say, it's very good for the price. You know, it's very hard to beat free. But when you want something else, you can use School, which has an unlimited amount of people. There is someone with a television on. I don't know what it is. Someone's got background noise. We'll pick up on that in a minute. That's not very annoying, but it's quite low level in the background. We'll pick up on that in a minute. So School allows for unlimited people on the call, not just 3 people, unlimited people. I'll talk to Americo about this in a minute. Opus Clip allows for really heavy duty AI editing from your videos if you want to do that. Our shows go 3 hours. There's just no way I'm doing that. I could talk about overload. I just had to have a lie down. I mean, wasn't it, Stephen? Wasn't it just such a game-changing show? I'm trying to get Stephen in. Oi! Where is he? Oi! Now, this will make sense in a minute.
Yeah. He says he's trying.
Oi! Where are you? So, Stephen, tell us what you think of what happened yesterday with the live streaming format, because you were new to it, but you really just took to it, didn't you? When it works. Americo, do you want to recap on what happened yesterday and why this live stream? Yeah. What's your take on this, Americo? And I'm glad you're here because Julian's here and you've got no excuses now. You have to meet in person. I'm sort of like a business dating coach. We can start this business dating app, can't we?
But we're going to make it happen. Let me first answer the question around LinkedIn and what's happening. I think the key for getting traction on LinkedIn is to start disconnecting in order to connect. You know me. I'm on this journey, this unfollowing journey. If you bring no value, well, it's reciprocal. If we bring no value to each other, what's the point of being connected? So whether it's an industry that I no longer align with, or I no longer align with those who I'm connected with, if we're not connecting, if we're not engaging, we're not posting and supporting one another, and we know nothing of each other, we just connected because we may have been part of an event, or we may have at some point worked at an organization that someone wanted to get their foot in the door and they reached out to you because you're a hiring manager. Like all of those people who have accumulated over the years, it's time to part ways with those. It's not that they're bad people.
I just love this.
They're wonderful people, I'm sure. And they're welcome back once we realign. And, I average about 1,000 unfollows a year. I usually make it a tedious exercise at the end of each calendar year, but that impacts my entire flow. The LinkedIn platform goes into shock and it doesn't know what to do with me. So it starts to throttle my feed. So I'm just doing it incrementally. As someone comes in, someone goes out. So I've got like a net gain of followers this year because for every alignable connection, there's a misaligned connection that gets replaced.
This is what an astonishing idea. What an astonishing idea. Do you want to pick up on that, Julian? I'd want to get you guys in the same room mentally at least. And what are you thinking of the idea of unfollowing people that are not aligned? What a clever idea.
Yeah, no, yeah, actually, and it's a strategy that actually goes. I remember a gentleman, Roger Wilkerson, who I had spoken to at least 5 years ago, and he had a very similar process of cleansing his connections. And to your point, Americo, and what people are experiencing, what I've been experiencing on LinkedIn, echoes exactly what you're saying. I've done that occasionally, but not thoroughly enough. And I think exactly that you're unfortunately, I mean, it's one thing. I think it's a good practice what you're talking about, but I think what we're maybe slightly sidestepping is the fact that, well, isn't that the offering, or isn't that what LinkedIn should be doing for us? Right? Is that, it is our message, that our messaging is sort of aligning up with the right people, and that ultimately, it is a business growth platform, a networking platform, or a career development platform. That was its original raison d'etre, its mission. And as Keith, you and I were talking a little bit before about this, right? That I think it's struggling for a couple of reasons, many of which are understandable. By the way, this is not to just sort of point the finger at LinkedIn or demonize them, but they've got a couple of, let's say, challenges ahead of them. One is that I think that is a mistake on their side, is that they've sort of tried to compete as a social media platform, like a Facebook or Twitter or something else, right? Which are platforms that are geared towards engagement, and they're not really, so therefore they're not really preoccupying themselves with, how valuable is this content? What does it actually do for people in a business networking, to our core mission? They're actually just sort of trying to optimize for clicks and engagement. And so, more social media type content is getting through and filling up people's feed, and then therefore turning people off the platform. So I think that's part of the problem. The other problem is because of the fact that it's a platform intended to sort of for people to build their businesses and so forth. There's as a result, consequence, they are highly targeted by, let's say, people who are trying to game the system and sell you leads and that sort of thing. So they are under a fair bit of, let's say, bot attack, and they have a challenge of dealing with that. Now, a very interesting recent development, right, is that if you've noticed on any post now on LinkedIn, if you hit the little three dots, you'll see that they now have this seems like AI slop filter. And the one irony that I'll point out about all of that is that in the same announcement that they're announcing this new feature, they're also announcing the discontinuation of what? Their own AI assisted writer. So there's a bit of an admission there that in some ways they are cleaning up the problem that they themselves created. So I'm going slightly off track here, but we are talking about LinkedIn and all of those sort of challenges, and so back to sort of your point or your strategy, Americo. I think it is a tried and true strategy, and it is a good practice. But ideally, I would like to see LinkedIn be achieving that on behalf of their clients, improving their algorithm so that it is connecting real people with real people. And to your point earlier about Substack, my account on Substack is 1 month old, and yet I have connected with real people, had real conversations. So as far as, if that's the point, and I think for most people at the end of the day, that is the point, then yeah, I'm experiencing the same thing that you guys are. That Substack, even with a fresh account with next to no followers and no subscribers, it's still achieving, I think, what LinkedIn's original mission was beyond what its own original mission was. And on the issue of their stream, their player, or their studio, I agree. I've tested it once. I agree. It's it's not there yet in terms of but what is there, and where one of their biggest edges is their ability to process a video and generate clips on the fly. That's not easy, and they've done it very well. So I'll end on that.
It is one of their key features. Let me pick up on that. Substack Studio and their live streaming feature, and even anything you do that even embedding into a blog post, you get. I'll throw to Americo on this because we have quite a lot of experience with this. There is indeed some background noise, and we're now getting some messages from the audience that they can hear it too. I'm not sure what it is. It's either a chicken, someone dancing.
I'm sorry, it's a chicken. It's me. I'm dancing like a chicken. I'll stop.
No. I'm just kidding. What do you think it is, Americo? Can you hear it?
I'm not sure what it is. It's either a chicken.
Okay, now I hear the echo.
Yeah, but that's all right. We'll keep going. Stephen, oi! What?
Static is me.
What happened?
I'm going to try and fix it. It's a bad microphone. The rest is
okay.
the TV is not though. But I'll try and fix the static. The static is me. That's my fault. I've been trying to fix that. It's the wrong microphone picking up. I'll come in out. I'll go out and I'll come back in. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, no worries. This is all part of the fun. We can actually have up to 10 people. And Faith, jump in if you want. I'll send you the link. So we can have up to 10 people on the call, and my job is just to moderate that. But I'd like to hear from Stephen. In spite of the fact that we can't get his thumbnail working, you were very inspired by what happened yesterday, and I just want to pick up on this idea of Substack and how it's really changing the game. Like LinkedIn is a ghost town, really. I mean, I just cannot get people to talk to me there. I'm diligent, and just no one is responding to me there. But Substack is effortless, and here we are chatting to people all over the world. I've got people calling in from Armenia later in the day. So what do you think, Stephen? It's a game changer, isn't it? We got you there, Stephen? If it works, it's a game changer. And of course, my job is to make sure that this tech does work. And it is challenging. I got to be honest, it is. But look at what we're achieving here. Have we got you there, Stephen? I think we got you.
Man.
We're ready for you now. We're going into the void. We're going into the void. I'm going to play a little sound. Boldly going where no Australian has ever been before. This is StreamYard Stack. StreamYard Trek. Come on, Stephen. Let's make this work. Come on. What's going on? Where are you? What's happening?
He's in the void.
Okay. Now,
Tech.
I'm joking to make a point, but the point is, here's a guy in Melbourne, Australia, doing a radio show in the back of his house, and people all over the world are calling in. I mean, where can you do that? Well, where can you do that? Come on. I'd love to hear more from you, Steph. What do you do, and what's your take on all of this stuff? Do you write? Do you blog? Do you do live gigs?
Yeah.
Do you meet people in person, or where do you hang out? What's working for you?
Well, first, a message from Oi. Stephen is saying that he's working on it. So just to say that, yeah, I do write. I write a lot.
Yeah. Do you meet people in person? Or where do you?
Oh, I see. There's a bit of a. Hold on.
Well, first, a message.
Is that coming from me?
There's a bit of a.
I think
it might have on it. So just to say that. Yeah, I do write.
So,
I write a lot.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
It's a great question. I think about it a lot because I'm writing first and foremost, and Substack has been great for that. But I love the idea of being able to connect and make meaningful. It's kind of like face to face. Like the best thing is like when I speak or I'll facilitate a workshop, and you meet people like real humans. And you want to carry on the conversation sometimes. And sometimes you go to LinkedIn and it might start with the DMs, but it's just not robust enough. Where I'm finding, and I'm actually doing, is sending people to my Substack before anything else, even over my own website. My own website is woefully neglected because I'm focusing so much on the Substack piece. And I think it lends itself very well to carrying on a conversation that we may have started in person.
And the thing that's great about Substack is that there's resources there that augment the conversation. So
100%.
you might say, okay, well, look, here's what I was talking about yesterday. I wrote a blog post about that, or here's me talking in, Houston, or here I am networking with someone. So Substack makes it very, very, very easy to make content.
Thank goodness, because it's not my jam. Like it's a very intimidating for a lot of people, right? So the idea that I can do a live, it generates assets, it connects to a YouTube channel. I mean, it's, dare I say, almost idiot proof, because this idiot was able to do it. So, and that allows me to focus on my core competency, which is not technical, right?
Right.
So that's been a great feature.
I'm just all for this, and I'll send you the link, Faith, and you can come in too if you like. We're talking, Julian, about what Substack does, but more importantly, what's working in a world where I don't want to sit on the computer all day and talk to the void. I mean, fair enough, it's asynchronous. I get that. Maybe people aren't awake when I'm awake, but I don't want to send constant messages and got nothing. And that is what is happening to me on LinkedIn. And this is not my story. This is not my only story, but people tell me this all the time. And I've got to be honest, I'm getting a bit sick of it.
No, I mean, we're
You
chat.
Yeah. You go.
We need that board music.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit.
There's no music on my side.
All right, I reckon you might have a Dalek radio. We have a little bit of trouble with Canadians on this show, that they chop in it. Can you hear me? So we have a little bit of trouble with people calling in from Canada. But the point is that we're living in a world now where we're busy, and I don't have time to just send endless messages to people that don't respond. And I think Substack, for me, Substack is creating this magical conduit for us to communicate effortlessly. You can read a blog I've written, you can listen to a show I've done, you can hear an audio I'm making, you can see an image that my mate Americo said did for me. I can't do images, but he does them. And so there's content there that augments the conversation, right? I live in Melbourne, Australia, an hour from the city. There's 6 million people in Melbourne. I can live my whole life here and never, go overseas or go online. I could do it. But the idea of talking to someone in Florida and Toronto and Armenia and, Manchester, England at the same time and getting their point of view, I think it's worth persevering with. And so what I'd like, given that we've talked a little bit about school, I want to pick up on this idea that with Substack, one of its, I don't like to talk in negative terms, but one of its major limitations is that you can only have 3 people on the call. Now, I've got to be honest, that pisses me off. I mean, it really pisses me off, because I like to have very dynamic conversations with 6 or 8 people, right? So Substack Studio's format and the live streaming format is limited to 3 people. I'm just getting a graphic for what that looks like. Now,
that's new though, right, Keith? Because it was only 2, maybe 3 months ago. Like
no, it was always the 3rd one.
Okay.
Yep. So this is what it looks like. I tried it back, I think, in November, and if someone else wants to join, someone actually has to leave. So you might be halfway through a conversation and it says, "Oh, look, Lachelle, can you just shut up and go because someone else wants to come in?" Well, I'm talking. I'm on a roll. Yeah, but I got 3 people in the line. Got 3 people lined up. Can you hurry up, please? It didn't flow. Right? So with school, and I'll show you this unbelievable example of what school does. That they say that you can have up to 10,000, but in reality, it just means it's unlimited. Now, I want you to pick up on this, Americo, because I think this is school's major selling point. 10,000 people on a call. I'm just trying to find this for us. You want to pick up on this while I find this image for you? This was an amazing show. Like, what an amazing show we did here. We had 5 people in the call, but we just could have built it out from there. No limit. No one has to leave. Just keep it going. Tell me about how this feels. This is what school does. This is how school looks.
Before I get into that, let's talk a little bit about Substack. And I believe, and this is purely just speculative thinking, and this is my opinion, Substack does not want to position itself to be the next Clubhouse. Its studio is designed for the utility that it's purposely building out for its creators. Podcasts traditionally have 1, maybe 2 guests. We don't want to turn it into a party room or that Clubhouse vibe where people are just jumping in and out.
Yeah, cool.
So that could be by design, and they're happy with what it looks like and the utility that it provides. Now, school, on the other hand, is more of a learning management system platform that allows creators to build community, and within that ecosystem, bring everyone together simultaneously. And some creators are going to be further ahead in their journey, and they'll have large amounts of community members, while others continue to build and bring people along. So they have front-loaded their own bandwidth, knowing that there's quite a variety, an array of creators who have varying sizes of communities, following, and so forth. So kudos to them for investing in the technology to front-load the bandwidth and not scale it as some platforms are doing.
I love what you said there. Let's run the room on this exact concept. I know for sure, because I've done a lot of research on this, that school has said, we've noticed that the most creators that are monetizing have 2 or 3 guests. They'd never 1 or 2 guests. They never ever have 3 or more guests. Never. They often do solo shows. They sometimes have 1 guest, and occasionally you see 2 guests, but they don't allow 4 or more guests, 4 people or more. And they probably won't ever do that. They'd have no desire to do it. And so that good on them for being so sort of focused on that. Their creators make money when they do shows by themselves or with 1 or 2 people. And so you're right, Substack has decided to focus there. That just doesn't happen to suit me. And I'm saying it, but it probably suits most people. Does the idea of 1 or 2 guests resonate for most people on the panel? Does that make sense, or do you like the group vibe? What do you think, America? You love the idea of a single guest or 1 or 2 others. That's your format, isn't it?
Well, my format, yes, interview is the format. So it's typically 1 guest and either a host or a co-host, and one guest is where I usually put out most of my live events. However, I'm very versatile, and I enjoy the Q&A and the immersive experience that not only allows people to engage in the comments, but awards the opportunity to welcome people onto the stage to be part of the conversation. That really resonates. And when I demonstrate that, people embrace it, they enjoy it. But when I offer it, it's like, hey, if you're open to bringing people on stage, I'd love to have a Q&A opportunity.
Oh, man, let's pick up on that.
And I've had difficulty getting guests to open up to a Q&A.
Let's pick up on this. My gut feeling is, if you don't want to have a Q&A, it might as well be a podcast. Like, why do it live if you're not open to what the audience thinks? Well, what's the point? Why are you doing it live when you could just record it? Just record it and put it out later. If you don't care what the audience thinks, then why do it? And I've had this argument with people many times. So, but people that go on these shows, and you, Americo, you talk about this, they say, well, I don't want to do a Q&A. Well, what are you there for? What do you think, America? Why are people so reluctant to do Q&A?
Well, I don't want to make that assumption, but I'm going to suggest that not being ready for what is coming in terms of questions, the uncertainty sometimes brings anxiety. Each time someone asks me, "Are you going to share your questions in advance?" My answer is always no. I want us to have a natural, real conversation. I don't want it to feel scripted. I don't want it to feel transactional. But I promise to you, and I make a commitment that the conversation we're going to have will be based on research and information that I collect from your social footprint. So I will go out and ask, what is Keith Keller best known for? And what I come up with in my web search and the AI mentions in overviews on you as a person and as a professional, that's where I'm going to drum up my conversation from. So if you're putting out slop that does not support who you are, you're putting out content that doesn't resonate with you, then you're going to get called out on it, because that's where I'm getting my information from. At no point has anyone ever said, "Wow, you put me on the spot. You made me feel uncomfortable. I'll never do this again." It's always, "You made me feel comfortable. You made it feel natural. And thank you for not sending me the questions." But you take it to the second level and comes the Q&A. It's like, it could be a trust. The answer could be trust. So we've done enough to build trust amongst the host and the guest, but perhaps because there's uncertainty and there hasn't been trust acquired, built, or accumulated, you don't know who's going to ask and what they're going to ask, and that could be part of the reason.
Yeah. Well, let's pick up on what Mike says. I want to run the room on this exact point. Mike often comes into the comments section and makes great comments. And as a person who is running the show with 5 guests, it's extremely difficult to manage all of the comments and the guests and sort of to push all the buttons. It's extremely difficult. You can only know this if you do it. Until you do it, you have no idea how hard this is. So I do apologize that I don't get to all the comments at once. But Mike makes a good point. If I'm not noticing the comments, aren't I also ignoring the audience? But it's not because of fear. I just can't get to it. Like my brain, I've only got one brain. But and so I do apologize, Mike, if I don't get to all of your comments. But it's like off the scale hard to do. And you can only know that when you do your own show. And I really, really, really want to see you do your own show so that you know what I'm talking about. But
Hey, let's pause here for a second, and because we have a real live use case that we can lean into. If you pull up Mike's comment, and imagine this being a guest who joins you on stage, and their question or comments are, "I hate Americo's process." It's like, that puts Americo on the spot. How do you respond? How do you, react? Do you react? And how do you keep your calm? Some people might not be able to. But I totally get it. Mike and I are close enough where I can say, I know he hates it. He has shared that publicly with me, but he respects and has also shared positive sentiment around my format. But that could be a real life example as to, the uncertainty. You bring someone up and they tell you how much they dislike you or disagree with what you just shared publicly. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a rebuttal.
Can I pick up on this too?
And
please. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about this as well, and I think we're also experiencing a transition from what has historically been really finely polished material, like scripted, edited professionally, and we're moving away from that to a really much more authentic and real conversation or podcast, whatever it is, right? You see this happening, but we're in the middle of it. We're not through it yet. And I think there's a little bit of a fear. I mean, I'll speak for myself. Even when I do something, I feel like, well, it's probably good enough. And actually that resonates more with people than if it were to be done very, very well, and I paid an editor to do it, right? But there's a little bit of fear there, and I think the Q&A is also a mirror for that. If someone asks you a question and you don't know the answer, are you going to look foolish if you say you don't know? I mean, the reality is you don't have all the answers. No one does. But like, where does that leave you if you're, yes, exactly. I see a comment there about loving authenticity. That's totally what it is. There's a vulnerability piece, there's an authenticity piece, but just kind of this lightheartedness, but it is new-ish. So I think that might play into it a little bit.
I really want to pick up on this. I guess there's no format that will suit everyone. But let me just play on what is actually occurring right now, just to give you some context. This show is going live to LinkedIn and YouTube via Restream, and the comments on LinkedIn and YouTube appear in the feed, and they look great. There it is. You can see there's a YouTube icon there, and Mike is making comments, and Steph is making comments on LinkedIn. Sorry, Faith is making comments on LinkedIn because there's a little LinkedIn icon. Yeah. That's actually not that difficult to manage. What's really hard to manage is that Substack, when you make comments on Substack, it doesn't appear in the Restream feed. So I've got to check that separately, which means I've got like I've now got three screens open. I've got the show itself. I'm now doing the comments from that show. Man, who was that?
But hold on, is it live on Substack at the moment?
It is live on Substack, yeah. But
okay.
So,
because my experience with the studio, I mean, I did see that that there's a sort of a key system for streaming, but most of their studio on Substack, when you click live, that's actually not live, right? That is an opportunity to record.
Let me just clarify what you're saying there. A couple of things going on there. Someone's typing, that's okay. But I can hear someone screaming in the background. I don't know what that is. Someone's either working on a website or building a website and going, "Hey, mate, can you pass the bricks? Come on, where are you? The cement truck's here." I don't know what that is, but I can hear someone yelling.
Steph's our typer.
Is it? Okay, thank you. I'll put myself on mute if I do that again.
But let's be very clear what's happening here. Substack Studio only works with Substack, and it records stuff that you do on Substack by itself. Substack live streaming only works on Substack. It can't multi-stream. It's very, very limited.
Right.
But it's free, right? What I'm using today is a site called Restream, and Restream, for a fee, can send my file to up to 5 places, right? I choose to send it to LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube, but it's incredibly difficult to do. And I think I'm right at the edge of what is capable for one person. And many people have said, "Mate, why don't you have a producer? Why don't you have a co-host?" And I should possibly do that. But I love the challenge of doing everything myself. But I'm right on the edge of what's possible for one person to do on their own. Yeah. And so I do apologize if
I have a question for Americo, by the way.
Yeah, please.
Just circle. Okay, great. So, I agree, by the way, it's interesting for sure. We could a long time about various formats in terms of how people, for those people who are trying to create a show or a podcast or a live stream, to your point, Keith, absolutely right that there is no right and wrong. I think it's a question of, what does the host or the creator themselves like and want to create? What kind of content is it for? What type of content, etc. So, discussion. But what we were discussing about earlier, when you're talking about school and these various platforms, and I think it's probably important to kind of categories, right? So, Restream is a software, really, basically, and exactly as Keith, it's a tool that lets you broadcast to multiple platforms. And by the way, it's worth stating, that's files, video files. They're heavy, and it's hard to deal with that stuff. So that might explain part of that early. I think America making probably a good point about that Substack might be doing. They don't want to become a clubhouse, but it also is a function of technologically, these things don't easily get developed overnight. But the question that I was going to is this. So when we talk about school, right, that falls into a category that I would say that's an education platform. So it is in the sort of, let's say, category like a Kajabi or like a Udemy, and it's different, and I do see it as the sort of new and up and comer in that category. And then, as we're saying, Restream or StreamYard, those are streaming platforms. We were discussing a little earlier, well, what is LinkedIn and what category does it fall into? So the question that I'm getting to is, well, what is Substack? What category would you put it in, right? Is it a social media platform? Is it a community? Is it a media itself platform, like we're talking about, where this is where you create your videos and right? How would you what category would you put Substack in?
Well, what a great question. Let's run the room on that. And hello, Jason in Red Deer, Alberta. How would you define Substack? Where would you put it in? Because we've known each other for a long time now. Where would you put it? Jason, can you speak?
Yeah, I can talk. You bet. I don't know how good my connection is. And hello to everybody. I'd say. Well, I mentioned this before. I feel Substack feels kind of like Twitter before Twitter became X, but with the ability to post long form content.
Oh, that's a great analogy. No, that's a great analogy. Substack has a lot of Twitter-like features. I loved Twitter. I loved it. People used to say to me, Keith, did you invent this? Well, I've never heard anyone talking so passionately about anything in my whole life. This must be yours. You must have invented this. Why else would you be talking about it? No, I just love it. I love it. As you know, Julian, I was the Twitter dude, right? Does that make sense to you? Do you think Substack fits into that sort of?
That's
Twitter
right. At the Global Digital, you were the Twitter. You were my go-to guy.
Each other. Do you think
you were my go-to Twitter expert?
Yeah,
that's right. And that goes back 5 years.
I think this is
at least.
Yeah, 2019 with that Jamaica gig, but pre-COVID. So I was the Twitter dude. Like, anyone wanted to know anything about Twitter, they came to me, and several others. But I was the guy. So Twitter is a very good analogy for what Substack is, but it also has this really long form writing idea. What do you think, Steph? Do you think that that's a good analogy, or how would you define Substack in this realm and this sort of plethora of other apps to choose from?
Yeah, because you certainly don't want to call it like social media, do you? But it's to be honest, I was never a huge Twitter user, so sorry, shock and horror. I can't really check the comparison, although that makes sense. I just feel like it almost in a way what LinkedIn used to be when it was smaller and like more what I think of as real. The long form, though, is what sets it apart. It's the long form for me. It's the quality of the people, and it's the ability of the infrastructure that's built in to be able to create assets so easily, like I mentioned before. And I think all of those things it's in a category maybe by itself. If I had to describe it, I guess the best thing I could say is it's social media, but not really social media. It's social media, but with long form content. And then because it's got the feed and everything. So there's a piece of that, but it's the reach that is available to us. And that's the social piece of it. So it can't get away from that. But it's the best of social media from where I'm sitting, adding in the other pieces.
Can I share an obscure thought as to what I think it is? So we've compared it to Twitter and X. How about comparing it to a SaaS platform?
Oh, okay. Yeah, like Circle or
Well, no, like any SaaS, it's a subscription base model. You're building your subscribers. You got your plugins
Yeah.
where you can plug in your lives, you can plug in your audio, you can plug in your long form content, you can plug into all your other social channels. It almost mirrors a SaaS platform because you can build it and make it whatever you want. If you just want it to be a blog, then that's all it is. If you want to add on to it, you can. If you want to monetize it, you can do that as well.
Yeah. I often say that I've said to Julian that what he's doing reminds me of what it must have felt like to have a Meccano set. You know, like you've got this box of stuff. I'd never had a Meccano set, but you got this box of stuff that by itself just looks like stuff in a box. But you can build a crane, you can build a house, you can build a car, you can build a turbo electric hydro generator. You know,
Right.
yeah. What do you think, Julian? A Meccano set?
Yeah, no, I think I think I think Americo, I think you're on to something about that. That it is a SaaS platform. That's a fair observation. In fact, all of the observations, comparisons, and it kind of goes that shows to me exactly that. In some ways, it was an interesting question that there are sort of various interpretations. What's coming out of this, what's coming back to me from that, and what that's telling me is that one, well, okay, we recognize that it's a young platform. Two, that I think what we're talking about is, as a young platform, in some ways, its users are defining what it is. And what I'm almost getting a sense of is that it is almost like, like a refugee island for everybody who all the other platforms, and coming on to Substack and trying to make it what they want,
Substack Island.
and I'm glad that yeah, Substack Island, right? So now, one thing worth acknowledging or recognizing is that the truly early adopters, people who are on this platform before us, I think they were able to very quickly build huge audiences and capitalize on that subscription model approach that Substack took. And at this point now, that's what's invariably with any platform like that, take YouTube or whatever, where early adopters can create, let's say, the word influencer, but, create influencer channels with that head start. And so it becomes that much more difficult for every newcomer. That said, back to what we were just talking about, obviously here, we, a bunch of people, all experiencing, having a variance with their ability to genuinely connect with, create content in this case, but not necessarily an audio show. That's what you're doing. Some people are just doing it with articles. So it's a very interesting, I'm just finding this all very, the fact that it's a little undefined, and perhaps people like ourselves.
Yeah, I want to morph towards conversation, which I lovingly call early majority. I am not an early adopter, in spite of what people think. I love to do things once they've been worked out. I hate working shit out. I hate it. I hate when you go to a site and nothing works. That really pisses me off. Right. So I want to go to a site that someone's been there before, and they said, you know what, it's pretty new, but I've worked it out and it's worth trying. And I want you to come over and have a look at it. It's pretty new, like no one's heard of it, but we worked out all the kinks. Right. And so I am a quintessential early majority. I'm not an early adopter because I don't have the patience to work shit out. If it doesn't work, I get really angry. So I think what Substack is right now is it's an early majority platform. It's been around for long enough for the cool kids, and this is how I know it's going to go off, is all the cool kids that we know in our industries are now finding it. Right? Most people haven't heard of it. It's only got 50 million users in a world where YouTube has 3 billion users.
Yeah,
I think
true.
it is. Steph, have you got the telly on?
I do. Well, I don't, but it's in the other room. So I'm trying to mute myself. Sorry about that. Is it bad?
No, that's okay. It's part of the fun of these live shows. But
Sound
have
check
you?
roll mix intel.
Yes. Come in, man. I just really.
Man, thank you.
What is going on there?
Hey.
We had your thumbnail there before. It looks really terrible when you just come in as a blank screen. I apologize for not bringing you in, but it's aesthetically not very pleasing to the show. But you've got value, so jump in and tell us what you're doing, and I'll just periodically bring you in. But you're just a big blank screen, and I've got to be honest, it looks shocking.
Well, hopefully I can fix that, and maybe the content's behind the screen. That sounds like an opportunity for me. Listen, in North Carolina, I've been preaching for years that we're not as backwards as we used to be, but our internet is really slow here for some reason today.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what's going on, but I do want to comment back to the the software idea. What America was saying is that, and we talked about this last time. It's a pharmacy. You essentially play the psychological dopamine rush, and you figure out what you get it from, where you get it from, and what you like. Some people are on the internet, YouTube, watching sleuthers and crime all day. Some people are putting content out that's educational and sharing. Some people are building communities. It's all about the dopamine measure in which you're receiving and amount that you want. And when you get enough, you walk away. When you want more, you come back.
I'll meet you on MySpace, myspace.com/Keith Keller. Because we might end up there. But I think you're right. Let's have this discussion. I still use LinkedIn. Many of my friends don't use it anymore, but it is really, really hard to get dopamine on LinkedIn. If you want to talk about it that way, you get a result, whatever that means for you. Get a conversation going, meet someone for coffee, get a client, get someone to comment on your post. It's very difficult.
You got to be in the vanity metrics for that one. The
Yeah.
engagements and the likes,
But whatever the metric is, for me, I want to know that if I write an article, people read it. So I had a comment from the community today that said, "Can you teach me how to make an audio out of my articles?" And I said, "No, because I do the reverse. I make an article out of my audios. And I only do the articles for the people that can't come to the show. And if no one read my articles, I'd stop doing them. Well, why would I do them? Why would I write an article if no one read it? Why should I go on LinkedIn if no one responds?" It's the same question you're talking about, isn't it, Stephen? Once we realize that a platform is a bit dead, we stop going there, don't we?
Yeah, it's like a clog. Everybody's working an algorithm and they don't really understand what's behind the screen, but they're so driven, and they feel like they get so much purpose, and it's really a chemical release. And it's interesting how we're all, and it's not just with Substack, it's with all platforms. It used to be daily TV shows, right? Everybody used to watch the daily shows and the daily routines. Now it's become in our palm of our hands, and now we get to create our own stuff, which is really interesting, because now there's no limitations on 4 networks. There's millions of networks. There's millions of outlets, and millions of places. It's just a matter of what kind of hit you're trying to get. So that's the best way to say it.
I do like this analogy. Because you want to. Yeah. Yep. What are we doing? You got some thoughts there, Americo? Yeah.
I wanted to weigh in actually on this. I wanted to weigh in on this. Yeah, on this idea of doing your article process, because I think that is a flow for some people, and I have to point out, Keith, by the way, that in some ways your approach and your audio first, and this little sort of this little pulsing visual, right? There's an element of a sort of old school radio that I quite love about it, and what that led me to create a tool, right, that would record an audio log, and it would, and then AI would, or a scripting tool would take out the transcript, AI to clean it up, because I say and a lot, so it cleans all of that out. So in some ways, actually, as a process flow, it's really good. And the second part about that is most especially how, there's been a lot of chatter on Substack lately because of the fact that, the filtering of AI content. And I had this weird thought of like, oh, well, this is great. I'll do my audios. I'll record an audio. I'll just say it off my head. I'll turn that into a script and proof that I have, that AI did not generate this. And then it occurred to me that's no proof at all, because there's nothing stopping me from writing a script, read it, and then pretending like that was actually, I actually do have, my own
11
voice
labs.
recorded at the moment. So I just kind of found that ironic valid. And for who asked about it, I'm going to about a funny little on my own site
Oh, cool.
that I haven't closed because no one's using it yet. Audio log. If you go to my demo and you go try it, you could record yourself, even publish it onto the demo live, get your transcript, have it cleaned up by the AI, and I've left it open. It's kind of like this open board, and one day I think it'll be almost funny if all of a sudden people were to realize it and my demo page would be flooded with just any people leaving an audio voice message. So I haven't closed that little hole, but for the person that technically you could just go to my demo and do it.
Yeah, it's in the community. I'll take that. But let's pick up on this idea. I do audio to a blog. What if you wanted to do the reverse? What if you wrote a blog post because you're really inspired and you love writing, and then you thought, well, hang on, there's some people don't like reading. Why don't I read it out?
Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
How do you do that, Steph? I was going to throw to you. Is that what you do? You write first and then you read it out. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, I spend the weekend is my writing time. So I think about what I want to talk about during the week. And then Saturday, Sunday, I write it. Monday, I finish it. And Tuesday, I publish it. And during the process, I also find I need to speak the words out loud to bring them to life and to check the flow of the writing. So I'm a person that writes very similar to how I speak. And so it's two things for me. One is a tool, and I iterate with myself a few versions before I land on it. And then when I'm done, after it's all pretty and on the article inside of Substack, I think, a lot of people consume things when they're out on a walk or when they're cooking or whatever, multitasking. Maybe they want to hear and listen instead of read. So I did that, and then I immediately got some really positive feedback about it, because I know that there's an AI tool inside Substack and you can have a voice read it. But having me do it with my human mess ups, by the way, I do not edit this and I don't usually retake. So sometimes I'll cough or I'll say something, a little bit off, and that just makes it even more human. And I kind of like that. And the feedback that I got was people liked that. So that's what I do.
I was going to ask you about, I do this too, but I use the listen feature. Let's pick up on this. Is very, very cool. So Steph reads it out. And then by reading it out, she goes, look, that doesn't flow. I wouldn't have said it that way. That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what I do is I use that. There's a little listen button. And let's run the room and see if everyone's using this. This is a really sort of Substack masterclass. I'm so excited that we're doing this. So there's this little button that says listen. So what I do after I create a blog post from my audio show is I put it on listen, and I make a cup of tea and I let the audio play out. I go, actually, that sounds all right. No, that's not right. I didn't mean to say that. I missed that bit. So by having that secondary conduit for the process, having an article read out actually is very powerful, isn't it, Steph?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you want to pick up on this, guys? What do you think, Julian? Could your tool do something similar to this? Julian, or we lost you? Americo, can you see yourself doing that? Can you see yourself when you write an article, checking it with an audio
here? But I'm also realizing I'm reading the comments here that I side.
Yeah, comments. You're reading the comments? Yeah, you are clipping.
We
I can
love
see from YouTube and
So America,
LinkedIn,
Julian again.
and I'm seeing a lot of clipping side. So
doesn't matter. I mean, it's it's pretty amazing what we're doing. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. We've got people calling in from Canada, from the US. We've got people listening in Armenia, someone calling in from Adelaide. And, it's a pretty amazing idea. So we probably should give the process a bit of slack. But what do you think, America? Would you consider reading out your blog posts or having them read out to check them for clarity? Or is that not something you've got time for or even thought of?
I've tried reading out my some of my pieces, and I've put them out just to see how people would respond, engage, and it didn't really gain much traction. I do use the listen feature on Substack for anyone who wants to read it, but when I listen to that, it sounds very mechanical. But it's there. I'll leave it up for those who want my articles or blogs dictated back to them.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think, Jason? Do you read out? You're very prolific. You probably don't have time for this, but do you read out your blog posts, or do you have a piece of tech that does that for you? What are you thinking? If you're still there,
No, I'm here, and again, if my connection's bad, I apologize. With our Substack, the newsletter that we do, one of the bonuses for our subscribers is I read it out. I don't do it all the time. Like I do 1 or 2 posts a week, 1 or 2 blog posts a week. One is like a weekly recap, and the other's like a breakdown of something topical in science with pets, right? And the subscribers really like that bonus. The people that pay to support us, one of the bonuses is I read the article because they like hearing it in my voice.
And that could be an upscale product for your paid subscribers. That's a very good idea.
People are doing that. Yeah, that's good.
That's what we do, and it works well for us. My stats to see how many paid subscribers we have. But it's one of the things they said they liked.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Mike? Well, the question is, do you read out your written blog posts, or do you do the reverse? Do you do a blog post from your audios, or what? Tell me your process.
Well, I just discovered, Keith, this listen feature. You can't listen to your own, but you can listen to others. So I was listening to Americo's. I kind of agree with him on the fact that it sounds a little mechanical right now. Just a couple ideas I'm toying with, Keith, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this when you were talking about Substack Studio, but I'm actually probably planning on doing what I call headless, maybe a headless audio podcast, or even a video podcast, but all created by AI. Unfortunately, the cost of AI video is a little steep for me right now. If I can figure out a way to do that at a reasonable cost level, then that's something I strongly want to do. So right now I am not reading it. But then, Keith, I don't know if you've seen some of my posts, but a lot of my posts have a song in it. So some number of those songs, some number of those articles are written, so they're a mix. Depending on what I'm thinking about, often I have, the genesis of my song is, it could be it could be a spiritual thing, or it could be something I'm seeing in the news, or it could be the AI controversy or whatever. So I start with an idea, and often I'll write an article about that idea, but then I will attach a song that I wrote. So
no, that's an interesting angle. Actually, you and I are quite similar there. What you're doing is you've got an article, you've got a thought, and then you write a song about that thought.
Yep.
Yeah, whereas what I do is I have a thought, and then I write a jingle, something you can sing in the shower, about that. So a similar idea. It's really fascinating what picking up on the original question and what is Substack? What is Substack to you?
Well, I don't know. You just saw my a lot of people don't even know this. You can actually load up the Substack application on your TV. I don't think it has a lot of traction yet, and maybe it's because of some of the things that we're talking about. Maybe it's because Studio isn't necessarily where it needs to be, or maybe it's because you can't add as many users as you can on Restream. So Substack to me is this content creator friendly platform that I can use. And I'm planning, by the way, Keith, again, a lot of this has to do with the video production. I really want to get on YouTube in a big way. But then I want to use Substack as my content hub. And then probably also launch maybe an anchor website, mostly probably for sales. And eventually, the plan would potentially be to have paid subscribers as part of, fan base where I can offer early album or track releases that I'm selling on my website. So the answer is really it's multivariant, but it's really about using it as a content hub and then being able to push things out to all these different places.
Do you have an alternative view to using AI for music? I got a pretty interesting piece of news you may already know, but I just want to put it out there that maybe they're going to close it down.
That's not going to happen.
What closing it down?
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that?
If you're thinking about what happened in Germany,
I agree with him. I agree with him.
That's a corner case. I don't think that's going to happen in the States. If anything, Suno has already made deals with Warner. I can see them making deals with other music companies, and or vice versa. The music companies will acquire AI creation. Spotify is already allowing, which I don't understand what the benefit of the users is, but it's allowing them to remix tracks from traditional artists using AI. So AI is here to stay. It's just a matter of how the music companies get paid, and or it's all about the Benjamins, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm going to weigh in on this, Keith. By the way, I just want to say this. Yeah. He's absolutely right. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. People are going to want to use it, and they're going to want to put that content out. You're not going to stop that. It's a tool, right? At the end of the day, it's a tool. And the heart of the question that we're really getting at from all of this really is what is deception? What is the stuff that we don't like, right? Versus what is AI assisted? And there's nothing wrong with AI assisted. And anybody complaining about AI assisted, it to me kind of like a bunch of finger paint complaining about the fact that somebody invented a brush and is now producing superior content, right? What upsets people.
Great analogy. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Julian, thank you. I've written many articles people, right? about this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what upsets me, right? And I don't know about you guys, but what upsets me about fake content is when you create a video that makes it look like you rescued an eagle. And you make it kind of realistic enough so that I fall for it and that I'm emotionally hooked and now I'm engaging, and you're using that for content. And right down at the bottom of the description, you say, oh, and by the way, this was generated by by AI. When you're trying to actively deceive people, that's the stuff that is offensive to people, and people call it AI slop. If you're using AI to help you with an article, whether that's drafting, editing at the end, whatever, who cares? Because at the end of the day, it's the quality of the content. And if it appears like AI slop, it will fall off the vine like AI slop. So there's a human side of all of this. At the end of the day, the AI still gets you about percent there at best. There's always a human side of it. And so the question really was how is that human using it? And if they're using it to deceive me, well, I don't like you, right? But otherwise, if you're just like, oh, complaining about, again, a bunch of, hey, you're using a brush and I still like my finger paints, well, good for you. Enjoy your finger painting.
And Julian, I draw. There's a couple things you just talked about. One is deepfakes. I'm very concerned, both from a citizen perspective, and generally, I'm worried about deepfakes. I can't do it yet, but I could probably do it relatively easy. Make Keith look like he's saying anything. Now, the technology is not quite there to make it kind of realistic and be able to, for me anyway, to capture his voice perfectly. And the video productions, again, I think it's not quite there. Lip syncing can be off and such, but I know what you're saying, and I think that's a very real concern about deepfakes, right? And by the way, there's ways around that. There's technology that we can do to insert stuff into the videos, and then on our end be able to read that. You can do that for images. You can do that for audio. I'm also very much in agreement because I'm a songwriter, but I use AI to produce the songs. While I'm writing the songs, I'm very invested in those lyrics, and then I'm very invested in the production. So I'm not just pushing a button. Now, do you have a right to push a button? And part of my question is, if I am doing this, which I do a lot of this, by the way, Julian, strictly for family and friends. So I'm writing birthday songs, I'm writing anniversary songs, I'm writing memorial songs. There's no lost revenue there. I wouldn't go pay $5,000 to have a memorial song for my my best friend. I can't afford it. So this has unleashed, in my opinion, a massive amount of creativity. That yes, I don't call myself a musician, by the way. I call myself an AI song producer and songwriter, and I can sing. I don't choose to sing on my songs, but I can. So, and this is a many variant thing. There are already traditional artists that are using it. Like, let's say I'm a bass player, but I need a sax track, and I don't necessarily want or have the time to go track a sax player or a session player. I can use Suno. So do I have to now label that as AI produced because I have a sax track? I mean, we were doing that with MIDI and sampling before. If I use 808s,
I think at the end of the day, yeah, sorry. Sorry to interrupt. I don't. But my answer would be. I mean, I think it helps to be just simply like honestly disclosed. And so, to me that is AI assisted. You're honestly admitting that with some AI assisted, or with the video was AI assisted. And I think you're free to do whatever you want with it. The only, let's say, problem is that I think people run into is where you pull a Milli Vanilli and you say that you're, hey, this is really me performing, when in fact it's not, right? Like, but I agree with you that that's exactly what AI is. It's a gap filler. It's that little thing where it's like, okay, but this track deserves a female voice, and I don't have a female voice handy, so fine, I'll use this tool. And on the deep fake issues, let me do this as a PSA, because it's worth noting. You're right. We might not quite be perfectly there, But you know that scam that exists where somebody will send you a text message and say, it's from your child, and they'll say, hey, it's me, and I'm using another phone, and they try to create some crisis, and they're hooking people in for $1,000. Well, be warned that it's around the corner, that you will get that phone call, and it will be a video phone call, and they will look like your child, and they will sound like your child. So my advice is create a password, because all of that stuff, to what Jason was saying, even if it's not here, it's around the corner where you know it. I'm not sure people realize how quickly this stuff is moving.
Well, and just for clarity, Julian, I was in cyber. um, we should have been doing that a long time ago, because there are already phone scams that are doing the same thing, but they won't necessarily put your child on. So of course, that's the one thing is, well, I need proof of life, so to speak. Or one of the things that I was actually involved in one was called the grandparent scam, where they pretend that they're bail bondsmen and that your grandson is in need of bail. And to your point, if I would have had a passphrase or a passcode with that child already, all I have to do is say, okay, so what's the pass? What's the passcode? And if they can't answer it, then they're not with your son or daughter or granddaughter. So yes, I 100% back you up on that PSA. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
You're on board with all of it. Yeah, it is unfortunate. The good and the bad.
Well, Mike, you mentioned Substack TV. It's 2026. Let's project where Substack could go. Substack Studio is quite poor, relatively. I rate it as about 7 out of 10, because we're doing this stuff all the time, and we've got direct comparisons to Restream and Opus Clip and things. But where do you think Substack TV could go in the next 2 or 3 years? So is this where they're taking it? Or they want it? They want us to make content that could be on a TV?
Well, I think so, but again, we've already talked about the limitations, right? When you do a Substack Live, how many people can you have?
Two guests.
Yeah, I mean, again, Keith, there are some folks like our good friend Americo that don't necessarily need more than 3 people on the stage. But if you're, we already talked about this. If you're trying to do Q&A and bring multiple people up, or if you're trying to, whatever the use case is for more than 3 people, I just don't know. I personally think that they're focusing elsewhere. For whatever reason, they appear to be focusing on this AI thing, to find out whether you're using AI or not. And my belief, and you guys can correct me because I don't have paying subscribers, I think they will stop or disallow your or maybe ding you on your paid subscribers. I don't think they do it for free publications, but that my sense is either they're going to do it or they're doing it now. So for whatever reason, it seems like they've shifted, some of their focus. But getting back to that, being able to read, or listen to America's, which I said I was doing before I got on. And I think we discussed it before, Keith, where I would listen to YouTube podcasts. I didn't want to watch them. I wanted to listen to them. Well, and if I have my phone, if I'm on my phone and I'm doing Substack on my phone, it's not great. I'm getting older. It's harder to see. So it's just great to be able to do a listen and hear what you guys talked about, or hear what Americo wrote in that article. So I think they have to, I don't know, I think they have to iterate. I think they maybe have too many things going on at the moment. But it would be interesting to see, where they're going with video period, and then specifically where what their plans are for the TV. But I don't know. I remember where I saw that, and I tried it, and it was like it's all right. But then again, to your point, what's the use case? What are you using this for? And I don't know. I mean, I can read Substack on my PC or my phone or my tablet. I don't know if I necessarily want to read it on a TV, but if you can start producing reasonable podcasts, I might be interested.
Well, they certainly they can do it, and one of the things I always find very amazing is that people watch YouTube on their television. Like, I mean, I don't, and and I just think it's if that's the thing, if people are watching YouTube on their TV, which they do, then Substack TV is a foregone conclusion. Because just try this in the next week. Notice how many people that you see interviewing someone else on their phone. I mean, it looks shit. It looks terrible, but it's free and they can do it and they feel like they've got a TV show. It looks terrible. Like it's unwatchable to me. But some people do it and some people probably like watching it. I don't know, but would you watch a show with two people talking on their phones on your TV? That's where they're going with this.
Yeah, that's a little tougher because I think it's okay to watch, Substack live, when they're using their phones and you're using yours, because your video quality doesn't have to be that great. YouTube, particularly if you're not paying for whatever the extended version is, sometimes you only get like 780p or whatever the case. So sometimes it can look kind of crappy. Even if it's a better podcast quality. So I think they're gonna have to really think hard about how they're doing that. And to your point, what's the audience interest? I mean, right now, right now, I think Substack is still written form, or bulk is written form. I think
most consumers go to Substack to read.
Yep.
But what do you think, Americo? Do you think there's a use case for, because you've got friends that specialize in this new phenomenon of having ordinary people make TV quality shows? Like, I mean, I'm astonished by this concept. I never would have occurred to me. But do you watch YouTube on your TV? Do you know people that do?
I will watch periodically. I will watch YouTube, but similar to my analytics, I'm probably one of the 1% that do that or consume it 1% of the time via television.
I mean, this format here we're doing today would actually look all right in 1080p.
This format would do well in a public broadcasting format, in a Roku channel, which my friend Karen is promoting heavily, and she has a school community around how do you get your content onto these public broadcasting channels. There's a market for it, and people are spending a lot of money. Are all of them ready? No, some of them get to those landing spots, and they get sent away. It's like, great concept, great content, great conversation. It's just not good quality technically.
Like your friend who sent you that song. You want to tell that story?
Yes, perfect example. I had helped Karen put together stitch together a video along with a song that was written by one of her community members, and she asked, "Hey, whenever you have time, if you're open to it, I'd love to see what kind of creative mind you have. I have some contributions from the community. I'd like for you to stitch it all together." And the audio, I got to commend the guy for trying. He's a songwriter, and he knew going into it because he disclosed, "Hey, I just recorded this on my phone, and hope you can work with this." And he sent me an MP3 file that he sang into his phone, and he I don't know if it was beatboxing or if it was just trying to give himself some kind of tune to. He was trying to sing, and it was a hot mess, to say the least. So I told him, I'm going to do my best with what we have because I can't work with what you've given me. So I took his lyrics, I punched it into Suno, and came back with a song. Hey, here's what we came up with. We gave it a little bit of a jazz vibe to fit and suit the community. I I stitched together a presentation that she provided, and together it worked out. But if you're showing up with, to your point, if you're showing up with MP3 files and you're showing up to a broadcasting network and saying, "Hey, I'd love to put this on television," they're going to send you away 100 times out of 100.
And that takes our discussion about sound up a notch. Imagine if you went to a network and said, "Look, I've got a TV show I think would really work. The concept's good. The host is great. The guests are prepped, but you know what? It looks shit. Oh man, looks like it's recorded on a webcam. You know, look, thank you for your creativity, Mr. Keith, but I'm afraid that we have standards, and that your standards are far below what we would say. I can say that in a polite way if you like, and get someone to send you a letter about this, but at the end of the day, the answer is no. So I'm really fascinated that if Substack thinks that this could be on TV, like I could push a button and probably have this on TV. I'm pretty sure it's not hard to set up.
Hey, for all intensive purposes, someone could be streaming this on YouTube, sitting on their couch.
Well, I guess you're right. You're right. Because it goes to YouTube and people watch YouTube on their TV, this would look all right in 1080p, I reckon. And that's why I'm so dogged about people coming in with their thumbnails.
You're on TV.
Yeah. What do you think?
There you go.
What do you
You know,
Here,
when we talk about
if I
this
can
and the
add-
future, go ahead, Americo.
Sorry, I wanted to circle back to the discussion that you were having, everyone was having around the deep fakes and the AI slop. And it dawned on me the last couple of days, there's a lot of talk about this Article 50 that the EU AI Act has now made public. It is now legally required of organizations. And if we consider ourselves businesses and we have users who are in the European market, we now are legally obligated to disclose in 4 distinct categories. We got a label. Like if we're using deepfakes, we're legally obligated to disclose that. If we're using chatbots, AI agents, or fully AI written content, if we're putting it out and not just using it as a tool, but generating and just copying and pasting, we not only have to put a disclaimer, we also have to log what sources we're using, so that in the event that we get called out one day, we have to be able to produce our logs. So this whole guardrail discussion is going to start moving a lot faster. If Europe has rolled it out, it won't be long before North America and the rest of the world will have guardrails in place.
I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm so glad you brought this up, Americo, because to me, their kind of argument around guns, where you're going to put in a bunch of regulations and then it's actually the criminals. In other words, all of those records that you're talking, you're right. You're absolutely right. That all businesses that moving forward, what Americo's warning you about is absolutely right. And if you start to use character faces and start to implement AI, you are going to be expected to provide these logs. Meanwhile, the real criminals will just fake it. And you're not going to solve anything. And you're creating a bureaucratic level that does not actually solve the problem that I think they're trying to solve with those regulations. And all they're putting on is a layer that businesses will comply with and should comply with. But I'm glad you brought it up, because it is a thing that is around the corner, and people need to pay attention to.
It doesn't solve a problem. This is a fascinating discussion. Fascinating discussion. Um, I'm really fascinated by the fact that let's pick up on what's been occurring today. I am using Restream to send the file to YouTube, Substack, and LinkedIn. We've talked about Substack Studio and School. So we are now combining the whole sort of ecosystem of all three. Restream is the force that sends the file. We're talking about Substack. The show goes to Substack. And we're also talking about School. So I think these shows are incredibly valuable. I love doing them, but I'm so excited that today's almost a masterclass in where this stuff can go. And I do call myself a futurist. We're not only talking about what's possible, we're talking about where this could go. And we're positioning ourselves to be part of that discussion. And I mentioned earlier this idea of the early majority, which I do totally resonate with. We are embodying this new format. Yeah.
Yeah, Keith, I have a question for when we talk about the future about this. I think there's two things to maybe perhaps focus on. One is because basically all of these things that we're talking about, in a lot of cases, we know where we want it to go, or the things that we want it to do, and it's not quite there yet. And there's two sides of that equation. One is is a much larger side of it. It's the infrastructure behind it. So, for example, even in this show, we've had instances of people talking about clipping and so forth, right? And again, we talked about earlier about how, hey, we're dealing with media files coming in from all parts of the world, streaming at the same time. That's a lot of processing. That's going to get faster, and I don't know if anybody has caught on to part of the whole sort of SpaceX technology that a new signal that's going to make streaming and that sort of capability that much stronger from space. But they don't only need to put the technology out in space; they actually also need to put the technology in our phones so that our phones can receive those signals. So all of that stuff is not there yet. That's the giant infra side of the future. And here's my question to you, Keith, about now. Let's just assume for a moment that we do there pretty quickly, and I think. And now the other side is the front end technology, the tools you and I are using. And my question to you, Keith, is this: is say all of a sudden at a very affordable rate, you can do a hosted show, but it's exactly your TV talk show format, and we are still meeting with each other from different parts of the world. And the only difference now is that you and I and Americo and Mike, we're all here in 3D projected, sitting down together as if we were having a conversation in the same room, even though we're in different places. And if you could just have a show like that, would you jump on it? Because it could happen in your lifetime, Keith.
Well, we have done it. I'll see if I can find the file. Americo, pick up on this. Americo, look, you guys have to sit down in the same room and chat about this, because Americo has taken this idea up to such a great level that I have sat in a room with the CN Tower in the background with Americo. I've sat in a room. Now it's just a cartoon character with my face sitting on a magical body. But the point is, what you just said is true. I have been interviewed by Americo on his show in real life, in real time. And my face was on a body sitting in a studio in Toronto. Do you want to talk about that, Americo, while I find the file? That was pretty amazing what you did there.
Yeah, so it was a little play. I did it for Mike as well, where I had him just kind of relax sitting on a couch in a talk show studio.
I was so relaxed I was falling off the couch, Americo.
Yeah, so I was having a little bit of fun with it, but we are going to get to a place, and I think that whole metaverse movement kind of paused people aren't talking about it, that whole virtual reality that but we are going to get to a place where we'll be able to put on some meta glasses or some headgear and be virtually sitting in the same room, and the host will be able to curate the experience as if we were in the planetarium looking at the stars and feel like we can reach out
I'm
and
not
just
even sure we're
touch
going to need
one
the
another.
goggles.
Well, that was what I was
Yeah,
going to say.
I don't even think we're going to need the goggles. I think it'll just be projected.
Well, I think we'll have AR first, Julian.
Yeah.
You know, augmented reality, and then potentially like holograms or holographic or like the holodeck in Star Trek.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think we're that far away. I mean, we're already seeing. I don't know if you've seen, but there was.
Nope.
I think it was Michael Jackson. There was a hologram or whatever of Michael Jackson. We're not there yet, but I can
Right.
see that within our lifetimes.
So yeah,
Yeah,
of course we would
it
do
does
it 'cause we are
exist
doing
in
it.
booths, in contained booths. You can do it, right? So they do have these sort of contained projection booths, and you can have two people talking in different parts of the world and look at them as if they're right there. So you're right. But these things are happening in tandem. You're absolutely right that the augmented reality will happen first. It'll arrive there first, but you're right as well. We're not that far away. And the bigger delay, or the biggest thing holding it up again, is that larger scale infrastructure where anybody anywhere on the planet can stream a video and have it, without it being interrupted, and a group of us can talk at the same time, and it can be processed. The bandwidth of all of it can be processed, but we are getting there. We're definitely getting there.
Would you go to a concert with a similar format? So I'll give you an example. Ronnie James Dio, who was the lead.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It'll exist, but I don't think it's going to be very popular. Quite the opposite. I think that, and I'm hoping, and I hear a lot of hope around this, and I think therefore it'll arrive at this, right, where we are entering into an era for the creator.
We lose him there for a second. Let's jump in. Isn't the
Sorry,
Sphere
did I
in
get cut
Las
off?
Vegas? Yeah, you were cut off there for a second. Are you back?
Well, haven't you heard of
Sorry, I'm
avatars?
back. I'm back.
Did you hear of avatars?
Yeah,
Avatars?
Not avatars, avatars.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
No.
ABBA in England, this actually happened about 2 years ago. Someone created a 100% virtual reality ABBA show of ABBA in their prime, and it was I say $50 to get in. It ran every night for 9 months. 20,000 seats, right? And what, I can't remember what that's called, A1 or something. Anyway, there were O2. There was a big venue in London, right in the centre of London, and it was called Avatars.
Oh yeah.
So they had people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People will be able to go to Kiss concerts forever. Yes, people will go to Kiss concerts forever.
That's right.
There's no question that all of those things are going to happen.
Yeah. So, for instance, I've often said, in regards to audio only, that this is my unique position, and I argue about it. I see myself as a little bit like Kiss in the 70s. Everyone's heard of Kiss, but no one in the world is thinking of Kiss without makeup. Kiss was a band that had songs in the 70s and the 80s, and they wore makeup. That's what makes them Kiss. When they took their makeup off, they were just four old guys writing songs amongst other bands writing songs. They didn't have anything different about them. So when I do these audio only shows, I'm doing it very deliberately to say, this is my angle. This is what makes my show different. And I'm not hiding.
I love it. I think it's like old school radio. Actually, there's I think I have a uh, let's say a nostalgic draw to it. It's like old talk radio, and I think it's a great format.
What I love is that because we've been doing this such a long time, I'm able to pull up all these images from all these experiments we're doing. Americo, look at all these experiments you've done, and look at how we've been able to augment them, showcase what you're doing. You should be paid like every day for this. You are such a genius at this. And how can we help you get it out there? How can we help you get this up a notch? You are so good at this.
Well, we're getting better at it as we go. Um, a lot of it's prompt engineering, and it's practice. You punch in a prompt, and it gives you something. You start off, yeah, I can live with that. That's a little comical. Let's go with that. But then you start seeing what else is available. Or when you put in a prompt and it doesn't understand you, it kind of reminds me of my days when I worked at the office and had my corporate job, and I'd be talking to developers. Hey, here's what I need you to build, and they would build exactly what I had asked for. And so, and it comes back, it's like, no, that's not what I was looking for. It's like, well, it's built to specs. It's built as designed. This is what you asked for. And prompt engineering I'm having so much fun because when it comes back and it's like, well, that isn't what I was exactly looking for. Let's tweak it a bit. And that image that I shared with you last week, I had to specifically say when altering the rendering at the end, my last rendition was keep everyone in the image because it kept trying to scale it to keep the graphics in the background and it looking cinematic. And the only way it could do that was by removing one person.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? And you brought it to my attention when I shared one with you. It's like, oh, Mike's missing. Oh, Jessica's missing. Like, all right. And I kept going back and changing the prompt and finally got everyone to fit in the image. So yeah, having a lot of fun with it. I'm running out of credits really quickly. And I know that if I need to scale up and do more of this, I either need to improve my prompting exponentially in short order, or I got to buy a bigger plan that allows for more renderings and more prompting.
Yeah.
Americo, do you know about character sheets?
No.
We'll talk about it offline. That may help you in your, particularly when it's human faces or humans.
Very good. Very good. One of
the technology is getting better. Like Gemini's gotten much better when it comes to character constancy. So that used to be a big problem, right? You'd put in a face and all of a sudden it would come back and you've got a completely different person. It's getting better at that too. So a lot of those things are improve.
Well, each of these models, basis. Julian, each of these models, and that's what makes it difficult, is they keep on leapfrogging each other. Like ChatGPT, they call it Image 2.0, has really improved text. It used to be, they keep on, at one point the text was okay, then the text got screwed up, now it's back. Like I was actually using, ChatGPT to create the image, but because they were munging the text, I was using Canva to overlay the text into the image. Now that ChatGPT Image 2.0 can get it right, you're actually seeing a lot of people use that. And again, Americo hits the nail on the head. Prompt engineering is it's kind of garbage in, garbage out. If you're not prompting it if you're not prompting it the way it needs to, and these prompts change and they don't tell you, that it makes it fun, and you do burn a lot of credits.
Yeah, I've spent hours sometimes on a prompt.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't exactly like. Engineering has become a very important skill. It's true, and really, that is the work, anyways. And there have been times when I have spent maybe an hour drafting a prompt, creating context for the AI, files to upload, whatever the case might be, to that end, so that the AI, so that I'm working with how the AI works, that the prompt is robust enough that it covers all of the angles and things that I want it to achieve. This is the work, and I've, like I said, there's been times when I've spent maybe an hour on a prompt before I ever hit send.
I'm going to give you a little secret. Ask the model. Ask the model for how I need to. I do that all the time, mostly again because these models are changing so fast. And I'm using multiple models. I use Grok, I use Gemini, I use ChatGPT, I use Claude. I feel like I'm missing. I don't use Copilot, but you really, and like I said, as soon as I get good at one of these models, they change the model. So that I don't think that's going to change anytime.
And are you developing skills, by the way?
Yes. In fact,
are you developing skills in them? Yeah, right. Because that's another trick.
Yeah, I just wrote 2 skills today, and I have, I don't know, like 5 skills. That's for Claude, and then I've written GPTs in ChatGPT. And I was writing projects. They call
maybe for Keith and for some people, I don't know. You want to explain what we're talking about when we say that you can teach an AI model. If you have an account with one of these models, you can say, oh, hey, I want you to have this skill set, and anytime that I then reference that skill set, it will apply that skill set, so that you're not retraining, you're not giving that context.
Yeah, basically they call them different things in different models, but I'm going to specifically talk about Claude for a second. Claude has something actually they call a skill, and all that is what Julian was just talking about. Is I need to and it's something I want to repeat. Like I have one that is a humanizer skill. So I will take something I've written, I polish it, and then I say, humanize this. And it goes back and reads what I had done before, basically, to make it sound more human. And then that becomes a skill, and it will trigger. There's something called a trigger that it knows that, like I say, write this like me, and it knows that it needs to write the humanizer, use the humanizer skill, and then does that output. So what we're really doing is creating things that allow you to repeat something you've already done. And so you can actually ask, or you can have it, if you don't use it as a skill, you can actually say, write this into what's called an MD file, which is Markdown. And then you feed that Markdown file, that it's basically like a memory file, and you feed that into your project. And then you say, ChatGPT has something called project. And you say, use blah, 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 whatever it was, like a songwriting MD file. And, walk me through stepping through writing a song with that file. So you're not retyping your prompts all the time.
Well, let me tell you something really cool about those MD files, because in fact, same thing, right? Like, through the use of AI, all of these MD files were generated, and I personally love to work in like just text like that. But just yesterday, these MD files are really useful in terms of, like, for my website, I need to create a lot of, let's say, how-tos. Anytime I build it, I want to have a how-to for it, and I've always ended up with these MD files. Well, it just so happens that, in fact, it turns out that it's really easy. So now, anytime that I build a new module and I can tell Claude, hey, write a little MD file, a how-to about this. And when I drop that into a folder on my website, it actually converts it into like a web page. It displays fantastically. Even though if I open it up on my computer, it looks like a regular text file. So MD files are really cool, actually.
Well, and then you can use tools like Notes, LM. I don't want to go too deep into this, but if you want to, really, dive deep there. And my concern though is I don't want to give too much power to the models, meaning I don't want to give it power over my PC, for instance. I don't want to start banking with an agent. So I believe that we need to have the human in the loop. If for no other reason than that you can have what I call the law of unintended consequences. And it's probably what Keith is worried about too. Is you want to make sure that you have control over what you're putting out.
Didn't Claude have some of their models go rogue not too long
No,
ago?
that's total BS. That's PR. They allowed it out. I'm sorry. I dove pretty deep into that one. I can point you to something that's even deeper. They allowed it to get out. They told it basically how to get out, because otherwise they really suck at
escaping the sandbox.
they really suck at sandboxing otherwise.
I don't know actually.
One of the things, this is actually quite a reference, a relative reference. What you just said there actually makes no sense at all to me. And I get it that you know what you're talking about and you sound pretty clever, but it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, right? I have no idea what you talked about then, and I feel stupid. So I'm really interested in practical AI, something that makes sense to me as a consumer. I don't care how you did it. I just want it to work. And what I'd really love to talk about at the moment, this is a very good example of what's happening. Substack Studio is quite bad at video editing. It does it, but it sucks. Right. And I keep hearing about this site called Opus Clip, which apparently does it very well, but it's quite expensive. And Julie, I'm wondering, could you make an agent that did your video editing for you and was pretty clever at getting the sort of clips that you want? Because I mean, on this show, which has already gone 2 hours,
right?
How are we going to find the good bits?
So that's a good question, and I have done some exploring into this, and it is very difficult. So there's what we're talking about in particular right now, right, is what is generally sort of referred to as a sequencer. And it's the same kind of thing. It's the same concept, and generally the same structure of tools. Whether you're dealing with audio, if you're recording and mixing a band with multiple tracks, and video, same thing. You might be dealing with multiple tracks and image overlays and so on. And those things visually, in a sequencer, you stack them, right? And those are the kind of editing tools that you're looking for in Substack when you talk about the editing features. Now, when you're dealing with large files, media files, it becomes very difficult in terms of the processing of that. So what I have successfully done with, let's say, the in your browser type tool is something that can take little clips and it can assemble them. So I have a tool, for example, two versions basically of it. One's called RealForge and one is called Promo Video. And what it does is that with the help of AI or with your own insertion, you can create a little script. It'll break it up into little chunks, little micro videos of, let's say, 4 to 5 seconds. And it will start with the voice audio first. And the reason why, which is a bit of a reverse of the traditional process. Usually most people are slapping on the narration at the end. But now that we live in a world where you can have time stamped, in other words, if I send this off to 11 Labs and they give me a voice, an AI voice script, they can also send me the timestamps of every single hit point where where that script lands. And then therefore, that means that I can now prompt a tool, make these little 5-second videos that are sequenced to that timestamp. And so what happens is that then, let's say it shoots it off and there's different AI models that you can use for this. Kling is one example that I'm using for this case, where it will then create a little 4-second clip and it'll go, and then
talking about clipping. That's a really amazing thing.
But to my point, all I'm getting at there is that I'm dealing in micro clips. And the second that I start to try to deal with a big, giant audio file, it starts to break up and you can't process it on your end.
Yeah, I'm really interested in this for a couple of reasons. One is there's only one of me, right? And I'm doing everything. So what I've decided for my own sanity is that I do 2 shows a week and I create blog posts from those shows. I think I can manage that, right? And I think that's a fair offering to the world, because what we've talked about today is pretty mammoth. And most people in the world will at best have trouble keeping up, and most people won't have any idea what we're talking about. Most people, the average person in the street, right? And that just is a point of targeting, isn't it? So what I want to do is I want to be that conduit that says, okay, we're going to do a show once a week. Come if you can. But I'm not going to spend hours and hours and hours editing the little micro clips, because first of all, I don't want to. And second of all, I don't have time. And third, I just get a headache. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2 shows. Yesterday's show was brilliant. A sound check, and our friend Steven still hasn't worked it out, but he will. And someone's got to guide him through that. And today's show is a masterclass in what Substack can do. What I'm finding for us is that the limitation is time. I just do not have time to put everything that we've talked about in a concrete way that everyone can learn from. So I'm limiting it to the show itself and a blog post once a week. That's all I can manage myself on my own. But AI is here to help. And I'm hearing a lot about Opus Clip, which is a paid service with a free angle, but mostly a paid service. I think, Americo, you've had a go at this. Would you have an opinion on whether Opus Clip is better than Substack Studio for this?
I'm going to be a little biased here and say Substack still wins my heart.
Still wins.
As a free offering, it matches up and pairs those clips and those moments much better than Opus Clip. Now I'm comparing free to free.
Yeah.
Right. So the free credits that I've tested, I've uploaded videos, and what it comes back with still requires further editing. Where Substack, I can just hit go, add a hook, and hit send.
Yeah, but it only gives you about 6 or 8, and you don't really have much choice, do you?
That's right.
You can't do anything with it.
So if you're trying to win my heart over, I would strongly suggest that if you're Opus Clip, hey, reduce the number of credits you're giving on those free accounts, but give great quality shorts to make someone want to invest in a paid plan. If you're giving me rubbish that I can't use, then I'm going to turn my back on it and say, well, I got this free stuff, this free content, these free assets that Substack has given me that are much better. And I'm going to work with those because I can edit those. I can still edit those if I need to. I haven't had to, though.
So you could punch it back into Substack and use their editor to lengthen it or shorten it.
That's right.
Okay.
But what we're talking about is their auto editor, right? And I agree with you. I'm 100% with you. That's the magic. That's their secret sauce. That is the thing that I tried to recreate, Keith, and basically got stuck at a file that was I think 100 megabytes. I couldn't go above that because Cloudflare, I was trying to do this in a browser, right? They've got the servers and the bandwidth and the speed with which Substack does it, by the way. Like sometimes I haven't even finished writing my little post about the video that I'm about to share, and they're already coming back with a bunch of suggestions. It's done. So I agree. I agree with you. I think that is the technological edge that they have. And America, I
Mhm.
think you're right to sort of push for like, hey, the way they do that is the best. Anybody who can compete with it will use it because exactly, it's helpful. It's that auto
Yeah.
editing, that auto
Yes,
editor
look, it is
is
quite
great.
good. It is quite good. And what I love about it, like if I was to be proactive about it, is that it gives you the file in portrait and in landscape. So it gives you for me, it gives me 4 files, but it actually gives me 8 files.
And
It
it's
gives me 4 files in.
Yeah, and its captioning handling is amazing, right? Because it's hitting the
It's
word
pretty
right
accurate.
on the word. It's highlighting the word. It's nice and big and bold. So it does a really good job of it.
Wow.
And trust me, I want to create that tool. I want to be able to brand
Mm,
those captions, right? I want to use the colors I want to use, but I can't do it. I'm not there yet. I couldn't. I don't have
mm.
the infrastructure that they have. They've got a great head start, and I agree. I'm happy for them. I love the fact that they're offering it for free, that they're doing it so well, and I hope they continue to evolve that ability because it's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
The one thing I would love to have, and I know there's a cost associated to it, and it'll probably fall extremely low on the priority list. But they allow creators to brand their Substack accounts. I use reds and blues for my branding
Ah.
to align with my
Mm,
stage lighting that I use on all my other platforms. If I could clip and use my own brand coloring or import the same coloring that I use in my Substack branding, that would be optimal.
yeah.
Because right now it gives us the Substack orange
Substack orange.
in the clips.
Yeah. But you'd like it to be red or blue, yeah?
Well,
I'd love it to align with the brand colors that I chose for my Substack
Yeah.
account.
I love talking about these what if moments.
America,
You go.
America, have you seen my branded EQ player?
Oh, wow.
Because
An
we
EQ
could
player.
easily build that for you. Okay, so it takes my logo and the logo pulses as an audio, and then what I've been doing is I loved it so much that I was like, export this as a video. So now I have a video of that, and I can add that to Substack, and now so it's doing exactly what you were saying. It's my logo with my voice talking, and it's pulse on my Substack page, and we
I
could do
have
that for
seen that.
yours
Yes,
easily. Okay, so if that's sort of what you're talking about, is it not?
it
I
it
think you want
wasn't, but
video.
you got my attention anyway. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about let's figure out a way because you're right that's a really that is another cool feature on Substack, right? That ability to brand your Substack page. I've made it so that exactly the two the homepage, the White Robot page, and my White Robot account on Substack, they almost look seamless, right? It just looks like that you just went over to the blog basically, and it's a very full account with the videos. But bringing in that branding
That's very
is
powerful.
you can do it with your own player. Yeah.
It's very powerful when you do that because from the consumer's point of view, if I do this with Substack and SoundCloud and LinkedIn, I think even YouTube, when you go to each of my assets, they've always got the same banner. So people go, "Oh yeah, that's Keith." Because one of the things that's very challenging, I don't talk about this very often. This is the biggest challenge. When you do a show on Restream and someone comes in as Mr. Boofus Soggy Bottom, and then okay, Mr. Boofus Soggy Bottom, who are you? Oh, it's Keith. It's Keith. That's just my Discord name. Yeah, well, why don't you just call yourself Keith? Why do you have to be some bullshit name? Right. So each platform looks different, and you could be dealing with a different person. But imagine if you could brand everything the same. They go, oh yeah, that's America. He's good. I like him. And that's him there and it's him there. This is probably marketing 101. Most people don't think of this, but imagine if you could brand everything the same as colors and feel. It's, is this sort of what you're talking about, mate? That you'd like to do? Just have everything look the same.
Yes, I want everything to be seamless. So no matter what channel that my community member is crossing. I want that omni-channel experience, so that if you're jumping from Substack to my website to my LinkedIn, it's all seamless.
Oh, it's so important, like just for confidence and sort of authenticity. Would you agree, Julian, that that's the sort of branding is really paramount, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
What we might
The consistency is really important. And I agree with you. The more that you make that user experience, that subscriber experience, or whatever it is, feel like one unified, contained experience that you have curated, then that in some ways, again, it comes back to that authenticity in many ways, right? It just it's sort of like you're showing your audience the love that you have for them and for the experience that you're trying to create for them.
Yeah, yeah, it's so important. I know a lot of people don't do it because we are on different platforms: school, Substack, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever else. And I think it's important that we have the sort of universality. But look, we've been chatting 2.5 hours. I reckon we've covered a lot of bases. I might give everyone a chance to wrap up. I'm going to create a transcript and a highlights from this, which is my realm and my limit. Yell out if you want a copy of that. And I'm interested, Mike, do you do any repurposing? I never see you repurpose any of these conversations. You just don't have time, not your thing?
I haven't seen them.
What? You've been on these shows, but I've never seen any blog posts or anything about what we've talked about.
Yeah, I did for America's. I haven't done it for your show. I think that part of that is, how do I tie that in with my brand?
Yeah, no, that is a very relevant point. I was on such and such a show. Yeah, but so what?
Yeah, and particularly, and I'm not saying I want you to do this, but if I played some of my songs, I could say, well, make a clip of that, section, and say, hey, I was on Keith Keller's show, and we played one of my songs.
Yeah.
That would make sense for me to repurpose.
We could set you up as a guest on other people's shows. But, a lot of people are now charging to go on shows, but why don't you do your own shows? You've got like 200 songs. Why don't you do your own show and play them?
Well, Keith, like I said, one of the things, and in all honesty, I need to figure out what would it be? Would it just be like a DJ type of thing where I'm playing my own tracks? Would it be kind of a how-to, or I'm actually thinking about, and I need to talk about this with the gentleman I'm thinking about, but he's actually building out a website for AI and traditional artists to kind of build a community. And if we do something like that, I could absolutely see us both doing a show, not just to promote it, but to talk about some of these things that are going on in the space, and maybe even get traditional artists to come on with us. So that's something, that's a use that I would actually kind of be probably a little bit passionate about that. So I think I need to find something that I can kind of get behind and produce. But beyond that, like I said, I was thinking about doing something with, it's like an avatar-ish, but it would have my face, and it would actually be video generated. But like I said, the problem with that is video right now, using AI tends to be expensive.
It's very expensive. But look, I'll send you this transcript if you want. Just put your email address in the LinkedIn, and I'll send it to you. So we've all got very limited time. Like we've only got the same amount of time each day. So what I do, and I'm very excited about this, what I do is I write blog posts, and what I'm now doing is I'm hyperlinking to other people's blog posts. My voice is going. It's not the mic. I'm actually now hyperlinking within the article to other people's articles. So I wrote an article last week about the school event we did with Americo and Jessica. Jessica came on the show yesterday to demonstrate her Myono mic. We then fed the article back to the original article. So now one article becomes like 6 articles. I think that's something I can manage, hyperlinking. And that's very good for what we call dwell time, people, consumers.
The other thing, Keith, my understanding is Substack likes that too when you're promoting other people.
They absolutely do. Now, Zakia is listening in on Substack. Can you believe it? You are very welcome to join us, Zakia, if you want. I might be getting a bit of a second wind. We've been going for 2.5 hours, and what I might do is I might play a song, an AI generated song, which I don't mind admitting. I love Substack, and Substack is going to be home base for me from now on. So I've written a song about that, and it specifically ties into what we're doing here. So let me just have a bit of a break, see if I can get Zakia in. If you feel that it's time to go, that's okay. If you're listening in and you want to join us, it might be time for a part 2, a reprise, an after show party, if you like. But let's have a bit of a break, have a bit of a stretch, and I'll play a song. There we go. Substack feels like home. And what do you think? I know, Mike, you're not a big fan of LinkedIn, but is Substack going mainstream? Is Substack a home base now? What's home base for you?
Well, I actually wrote a song about this, Keith. I am moving away from social media in general.
Oh,
Um, uh, Mostly because of the connection issue. So it's really LinkedIn. But that doesn't mean Substack to me, because I look at the way I'm using Substack is different. I have a publication that basically is a sort of a diary of what what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. Again, those tend to be a mix of text and audio. So Substack is a little different, and because of this idea of using it as a hub, I will be pushing out again once I can produce video at reasonable lengths at a reasonable cost. I will be pushing out video, maybe even to TikTok. I kind of am shying away from TikTok, but definitely YouTube. Um, if I do want to look at things like Opus Clip, or things that, if I do end up doing a audio only or video podcast, that I can clean up the ums and ahs and such. So I'll absolutely be looking at tools for that. But Substack is going to be a hub. I don't know if it's going to be a home per se. As far as like, I kind of need a landing page where, for instance, I can take payments. I'm not real thrilled with Substack's digital marketplace or whatever. I can't remember off the top of my head what they call it, but I'm not real thrilled with that. So I may end up just be doing my own website for that type of stuff.
I just love where this is going. The fact that we're now talking about Substack as a digital marketplace. I mean, that's an exciting topic. Zakia, do you want to jump in? Hello. We haven't chatted for a while. I'm doing some interesting things here and trying new things. What have you been doing? Got you there, Zakia. I'd love to hear your take on the digital marketplace and especially tools. Like the conversation that we had just before you came in was that there's only one of me, and I'm having a bit of trouble creating ancillary content and giving everyone a turn at, being part of the discussion. So what I've decided is that I will do the show twice a week, and I will do a blog post with those shows, right? And I don't have time to do video editing. I don't particularly want to, and that's just too bad. I know people miss out, but I do the show, and I want people to come to the show. But I'd love to hear your take on what tools we could use. Are you there? Have we got your signal there, Zakia, or you're not able to talk? I'd be interested to know.
We might have lost her.
Yeah, well, might not have coherence. I know she's working on a very, very cool piece of tech related to podcasting and RSS feeds. But
Keith, you and I talked a little bit about this, and to your, I hear where you're coming from. You don't want to do that editing. One thing that I'm as an infrastructure for my new show, I'm not there yet either. But what I can tell you that one thing that I do want to do is facilitate exactly what you're talking about maximally. In other words, I want to make my guest experience fantastic. And so what I have done so far is that when somebody comes through the application process, I have a banner that gets automatically generated. So I'm not always creating the new banner for every show, and it becomes immediately available for that guest to share. Ultimately, where I would love to do is get it so that anytime that I have a guest on my show, and we might have Zakia back now, by the way, But anytime that I have a guest on my show, I want to make the full video available to them for them to do that editing, for them to go and cherry pick the clip that they want to clip and share, to do exactly the strategy that you were talking about. So that's my thought, is that while you don't want to do the clipping yourself, I think that makes sense. That's understandable. But if there's some low maintenance approach to making all of the video content, all of the images, whether it could be like a shared Google Drive or something like that, to your guests, so that they can go and repurpose that, make it easier for them to repurpose that content for you.
What I want you to do for me,
it might be a good strategy.
What I want you to do for me, I really want to do this experiment. I have found, of all the guests that I've ever sent content to, virtually no one does anything with it. Now, I know that's a shock. You go to all this trouble. You send them the video, you send them the audio, you send them the transcript, you even create a highlights page, and all they have to do is cut and paste and do it. Most people do nothing. Like, I think it's a shock. Why is
that? If I had this 2-hour video, I would be scrolling through every inch of it for anything that I thought I could use. And Mike was bringing this up earlier, right?
I
when
will
he was
get
saying,
it.
I'd have to see
it.
how it fits into my brand.
Yeah. So what I do, and I'm
I think it's a good idea.
What I do is I send it. I use a file service called WeTransfer.com, totally free for I think up to 5 gigabytes. So I will do that. I'll send you the transcript. I'll send you the highlights, which I'll create on Copilot, and anyone who wants the video, I will send to you. But I'm not going to edit it. I can tell you for sure. I'm just not going to. I just don't want to. And I'll even, if Substack creates the clips, you'll probably get those as well. But Zakia, do we have you now? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this repurposing. It's a bloody minefield sometimes, isn't it?
It is. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't have the best mic tonight. I'm in transit, but hello, everybody.
Hey, what have you been doing? What's your thing? Have you tried Substack Studio? I'm surprised to see that you're here on Substack. You've not been a big fan of it overall.
No, I haven't. I'm very curious about Substack now because of, well, you all have said the gravy train of LinkedIn is long gone. However, I like the nuances in how they are building out the studio. So I've been paying attention to it by watching like just YouTubes of what people are doing with the studio, which I think is pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I'd be very interested to know your thoughts on this. So what Substack Studio does is it allows you to record a solo show, audio on or camera, audio only or camera on, either. You can edit it in portrait and or landscape. You can have up to 2 guests, and they give you the transcript. And that's all free included. I mean, how cool is that?
Wow. So wait, you can edit the video, like after you do the live audio, it'll give you the editing capabilities within the studio?
It does, yeah. It's actually
wow.
It's very similar to Descript. You know how you can cut out the words and you just go to the word bits you want?
Yeah, so the only reason you're using Restream this evening is so that you can have more guests. If it was just a regular scheduled show, would you do the studio?
You can't multi-stream.
You're locked into the platform. Okay, I got it.
So let's play this out. So this is what it looks like if you use my Substack Studio. 1 person, maximum 3 people.
Okay.
Right? Maximum 3 people. That in itself is a limitation, but not for most people. The live streaming version goes out live, but you can't go anywhere else. You can't from Substack. You can't go anywhere else. You're on Substack, and you're only getting the people that are on Substack. Substack Studio simply does all of that without going live. You just record it. You get the video and the audio and a little studio, and you get the transcript. And I'll throw to Americo on this because he uses these features pretty well, and you get about 6 or 8 clips out of it, which are quite usable. What do you think, Americo? Is that a good synopsis of what we're getting from this?
Yeah, it is. The clips are, as I mentioned earlier, very useful. But what I'll do, I'll take the transcript, run it through my AI agent, analyze this transcript, and point out. Uh, I've used different words. Point out prominent parts of the conversation that would suit a clip. Recommend clips that have high potential of virality. Uh, and I'll try different variations. And it comes back, and I ask, include the timestamp. And I'll go into the editing tool, go to the timestamp, play it back. It's like, yeah, I can use that. So another way to use the transcript and AI to as a tool. So you can go with the native clips that it provides, or you can use your AI agent to help you source new clips without having to listen to the whole conversation and mine them yourself.
Wow, that's really interesting. I think for my use case, I would use it for recording podcast episodes because it's not going out live. Is that correct?
Yeah, Substack Studio does not go out live. No.
Oh, yeah, that's a really neat use case. If so, are you able to send someone, do they have to have a Substack account to join you in Substack Studio?
They do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a direct in that particular component. It's a direct competitor to say Riverside or Zoom. A lot of people are still using Zoom to make their podcasts. So Riverside's
But
high
hold on,
quality audio,
Zakio.
Zoom.
To say is this actually? Hold on. You know, if you're talking, since you're talking about not live in the first place, then it really doesn't matter where you do your initial recording. So you could do that in Zoom. You could do that in Daily Co. I like because it's
You can't
very cheap
transport it.
and it's
You
about
can't
Zoom
you can't
quality.
import it.
But you know,
You can't import it.
yeah, no, you can
Really.
upload the video to What do you mean? I upload videos to Substack all the time as, let's say, like a podcast or as a live show. It then takes that video and same thing. I get the transcript. I get the clips.
You can do it. Yep. Actually, it's very similar. Have you probably already done that? Have you, as a kid, put a video inside a blog post, and then the Substack will create videos? Let's throw to America on this because he does it all the time. How do you do this, America?
Yeah, you're not doing it. You're not doing it in the studio. This is not in the studio. This is just simply then for the user case that Zakia is talking about, where she wants to have, let's say, an interview or a bunch of guests and with, let's say, who don't have a Substack account. That doesn't stop her from having that call and that conversation on the side and then uploading it directly into Substack and getting the clips. And that's really, again, what we've been talking about is sort of the gold that Substack gives us for free. Is it's all some of those clips. Yeah. And then as Americo's pointing out, he's augmented that with a process of his own to betterify clips. So there's so many ways to skin the cat here, but and there's no question that what we're all agreeing on for those of us who are using it is that, hey, Substack is giving us a very rapid fire turnaround on some pretty well identified clips that we can either share right away or, as Americo does, take it even further. But it's that's what we're talking about. And so, Zakia, to your question, you can use it that way.
Wow. And would you say the clips that it auto generates, are they like, oh man, why did they pick this? Or are they like, oh, this is pretty good, I would post
I think they're
that in a heartbeat?
fantastic.
Okay.
I often
no, it's good. And though, as we were saying earlier in the show, right, the auto captioning, it takes that captioning and it highlights the word per word, and it does it very well and very quickly. So yeah, it's good for that alone.
Oh, okay. I'll give it a shot. Thank you. I like both suggestions. I know a lot of my audience is not on Substack. That has been my hesitation. And starting from scratch is like not not 2026 for me. So I've been focusing where they are, but you never know.
Do you use
and Zakia?
You go. It doesn't matter. You go.
Zakia, the one of the reasons I'm excited about Substack is its ability to push out to all these other platforms. I don't know which ones you're using. And like I said, what's holding me back? It's weird. I was thinking about while you guys were talking. I'm like, it seems like it's acting as a hub as long as you're using their tools, even if they're free. But it doesn't seem to play well with like streaming. I mean, it can be an end point, but I can't stream from
Keith, I got.
it. Go ahead, Julian.
I have Keith because this circles this. Oh, sorry, and sorry, Mike. Circles back to what Keith and I were talking about before the show even kicked off. And I'll just use, because it happened to be that we were talking about LinkedIn, and so Zakia, maybe that's one platform where you do have an audience. But here's the funny thing: is I too have an audience on LinkedIn, and Keith has had an audience on LinkedIn for many, many years. And I have only been on Substack for 1 month. My audience is extremely small, and yet I have met real people. I have had real interactions, real conversations with people with that very small audience through Substack, based on no audience. And as Mike was pointing out, well, you can take the content that it auto generates and go and grab that and go and share that with your LinkedIn audience anyways. But I have to say that with even no audience, at the end of the day, if the goal is to connect with real people, Substack is still working with no audience. So in some ways, I hear what you're saying about starting from scratch.
I had the same thought about Clubhouse, and Clubhouse has gone away, but I don't think Substack's going away. So, I wonder whether in 12 months...
No, it's not going anywhere.
If in 12 months' time, Zakia, if we're having this conversation, you think, I probably should have started last year, and now I've got to start from now. You got to start. And if it's not going away. I mean, it's not a flash in the pan little gimmick. This is going to be big. Like, I just sense it's going to be big. And of course, you got to start. I wanted to share a milestone. I've been on Substack for less than 12 months. I cracked 1,000 followers today. So that's 1,000 people that can come to my show, that I can DM, that talk to me. And as Julian said, we're having real conversations. Like, we're talking to real people. This does not happen on LinkedIn. People do not talk on LinkedIn. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're going there for, but they don't talk to each other.
We're doing it right now.
And it pisses me off. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
So,
Zakia,
anyway.
exactly. Zakia and I had never met before now.
Oh, is that right? You've never met
No.
Zakia before? Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't think of that.
So there you so exactly. We're doing it right now. It's happening right now. It is sort of, I'm just pointing that out. It's a proof of concept right here on the show. I'd never met Mike before, right? Americo, I had met, and we're exactly as he has been talking about. We've been talking about an in-person meetup. So this is this is the proof of concept right here in front of your faces. Anybody watching this, and for Zakia, you're experiencing it, its value right now. It's cool.
176 people registered for today's show on LinkedIn. Not one person came from LinkedIn. Not one person. Now, what does that tell you? Why are they even registering? If you're not interested, just don't push the button. What? Just don't push the button. If you're not going to come, don't push the button.
Can I tell you what might be happening? Because you have such a huge following, some people click attend for the networking hack, because once you click attend, you get to see who the other attendees are. Yeah. And if they're like-minded people, then you've now shortlisted who you should reach out to and connect with.
Yikes.
I think the other thing is, doesn't it necessarily tell you like late? Like, I just saw Americo was on this show. I'm like, well, why is it so late?
Yeah, it's obviously not optimized for live streaming. I don't think they care about it at all. But the real point And I really, you do what you can, Zakir. But if in 12 months' time we're having this discussion, it could be said that you might say to me, "Oh shit, I probably should have started last year."
I'm already saying that. When you started, was it September last year? Where you said, I think this is the place we should be going, guys. Right? This isn't new.
But here's one thing I personally recommend, and maybe someone has a different opinion. I would start, but I wouldn't go out to the masses on your other platforms and say, "Hey, come follow me."
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, fair.
Let it grow organically, so that you're not coming across as spamming across all three. You're going to
I
find
think you're right.
a new
I think I made
a
that
new
mistake on
tribe.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went straight to LinkedIn and I was like, hey, come follow me on Substack. But I think you're right. That's probably good advice.
What I'd love to ask this everyone is, are your people, the people you admire, the people you hang out with, the people that you follow, are they on Substack? What I'm finding now is the cool kids, people I look up to, are discovering it. The people that I want to hang out with or did hang out with when I was the Twitter dude are now discovering Substack. So I know there's this sort of momentum building that the people that
I'm going
I
to challenge you
respect-
on that one, Keith. I think Mike is the trend of the cool kids when he says he's going off social media a lot. A lot of people are turning off.
Yeah. Do you have the phrase dumb phones, or I think you call them dark phones? Is that a Canadian term?
Yeah, they exist. Yeah, for kids. Yeah, dumb phones exactly, for especially like if you do social media, but you want to be able to access, be able to call them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the trends are only relevant if they're interesting to me. So I'm not getting a dumb phone. I'm not getting a dumb phone. There's no way in the world I'm getting a dumb phone. I love my phone. I just bought a Samsung 26 Ultra, and we were chatting about getting the Fold. I want the best of the bunch.
No, and there are people. Yeah, there's lots of people again trying to connect globally in the way that you are, and this is the way to do it, right? So,
you realize that it's the alpha generation that's going to take that dark phone or that dumb phone and vibe code something and make it work.
Yeah, well, Alpha's now 16.
Wow.
You know that?
And
Alpha.
Wow.
And
Generation Alpha is now 16.
They can vibe code.
Generation Gen Z,
and they're going to turn those dumb phones into smartphones.
Dumb phones are turning. I mean, Gen Zs are turning 30. Like, I mean, not loosely 96, 98 Gen Z. 2000 is a nice round figure, but Gen Z are in their 20s now. They're buying houses. They're having kids.
You know what I'm noticing though? The funny thing about AI adoption and its use is that what we're talking about here is this sort of assumption, right? That this younger generation is going to adopt it. They're going to vibe code. They're going to be able to do all these things. And in some ways, I do notice that you have an older generation who feel like, oh, well, I don't want to learn this new technology. But what's most interesting to me is two things. One, something that Mike kind of alluded to in a weird way, right? The more you use it, the people who are using AI the most actually trust the AI the least. And the other interesting part about it is that, and this kind of relates to our earlier conversation about prompt engineering. It is, in fact, your experience. Those people with those older generations who actually know, who don't trust the AI and are able to say, wait a minute, your answer is flawed, or here's what I'm really looking for, or wait a minute, have you considered doing it this way? Be based on experience that a younger generation doesn't have. What I'm getting at is that an older generation, that experience, in fact, has tremendous value. All of America's experience in video production, just because the AI now presents a different way of doing it, doesn't mean that all of that experience of, let's say, lighting production, sound production, editing, planning, and so on, doesn't give him an edge when it comes to prompting AI and using AI, because he can say, give me this kind of filter, give me this whatever, apply this theory. That is from experience. And so an older generation in many ways, I think, has a huge advantage with AI, that if they don't realize that it's there, they're missing out on a great opportunity.
Well, and Julian, you kind of hit the the nail on the head. It's not just it's having, like, this is why I say it's so important to have HITL, human in the loop, because AI will spit out very confidently, or at least a lot of the models, very confident answers that are wrong or that are questionable. And if you don't have that previous experience and or critical thinking, and a lot of people don't understand that the models have no internal logic. It's a very sophisticated autocomplete, but there's no internal logic. So it can say something that's actually counter its own argument within a conversation. So, but that said, there is something weird going on where the younger generation is shying away from AI use. Period. And I'm not 100% clear as to why yet. It's not clear to me why they are. I think part of it may.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Well, I think my because tradition is the new rebellion.
Whoa! Wow, that's whoa! I've heard analog. I think I've heard analog is the new cool.
Well,
what do they know about tradition? But wait. They've rejected the boomers, which I am, because of tradition. So why are you saying they're adopting boomerism? I don't think so.
I think they might be wanting to. I think they're yearning for something older than that. I'm saying that they are adopting something that I've adopted as a Generation Xer, actually, which is and I'm like Keith in this regard. I'm a trend follower in this sense, but off-grid living. Right, I am looking to become as maximally self-reliant as I can. The more that I am using my own generated electricity, which I'm not doing at the moment, but my own water. I do have my own well at the moment.
And your own honey.
So that is a very my own honey, right? These are things, my own food, my own vegetables. We talked about this the last time I was on the show. In the summertime, pretty much my entire all of my meals basically come from within a blast radius, and that is a lifestyle choice. And I think a lot of AI especially allows us to reconsider everything. And the one thing, here's the other sort of factor that's been in play, and this dates back to conversations that Keith and I had 5 years ago, right, is that we're in a transition period. The industrial age model is no longer really valid. It created all kinds of pressures. It drove people into cities. It pushed factory workers. It changed our education. Well, we're in another transition where all of a sudden it's working in the reverse, where, wait a minute, what are the advantages of a city versus some rural nice place out anywhere if I'm still able to get a cell or internet connection way out in the boonies, and I can have Amazon drone whatever I want to wherever I am. So things are changing in that regard. Generation that's saying, wait, that whole 9 to 5 factory model is broken anyways. It's not going to get me a house anyways. And those, clearly I'm seeing, those younger generations embracing all kinds of alternate modes of living, whether that's the traveling, whatever, solopreneur, right? The whatever. There's all kinds of variations, but
Julian,
digital. Thank you.
But Julian,
go ahead,
if I can be more effective, more efficient, make bank in different ways, faster, better with AI, why would I reject it? In other words, I agree with you, by the way, that they look at the
That's a good question.
they look at the boomer they look at the boomer generation and say, well, I don't want to do the 9 to 5er, and I agree 120% on that one, right? I don't either. But and there's no job security, at least in the States. There's no real job security. So I get them wanting to do alternatives. And if you look at it, I think a lot of them are going out and, whatever it is, they're doing a lot of side hustles, and or maybe even their main hustle as a entrepreneur, solopreneur early on, whether it's a YouTube influencer, whatever it is. But it'd be interesting. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just a little mystified.
It's a good question.
I'm hearing
a mix of both.
Yeah. I'm hearing that they're
it's a mix of both, I
AI,
suspect.
but then
the bigger question is, do we care? Like, it's a very good question. I'm going to say, in my 50s, do I really give a shit what a 15-year-old thinks? I don't. I mean, I don't have kids, so therefore I don't have grandkids. I really don't give a shit what 15-year-olds think. How does that affect me? Why should I even bother offering? I know they're rejecting alcohol. I get it. I totally get that. If they're rejecting AI, that's up to them. But why do I care?
How many of your readership are young?
I don't think you have to.
I don't know if any are.
That might be why. I mean, to your point, if your readership, and if you care about your readership, I don't know if you do. If you don't care what age they are or if they are, then yeah. I mean, you're in a weird position, Keith. You're basically retired. You're not dependent on selling to them. So, yeah, to your point, why should you?
Yeah, I can't be all things. I don't agree with all things to all people. I've never agreed with that. I'm a guy in Australia. I'm an Aquarian. I'm an ENFP. I'm a cuffer. I'm a creative. I really don't give a shit what 15-year-olds who wear, they wear. I don't know if you know this, but in Australia, the Gen Zs are all wearing their jammies out to the cafe and going to the cafe in UGG boots with a dog. Every single Australian young person has a dog and goes to the cafe in their jammies. Like, that's great. Good on you. If you want to have a dog,
we have that here.
If you want to have a dog and you want to go to the cafe in your pajamas,
Toronto's full of them.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't want that life.
Oh, Toronto's one big pajama party. but yeah, no, and you don't have to. And by the way, yeah, one of my favorite bloggers, writers on Substack. I forget the exact name of it, but it's like, an old timers, Keith. He's probably a little older self, and exactly, he has the exact same kind of attitude of, I get to say these things because, well, there's nobody in HR to do a review of me. I don't care anymore. And to your point, Mike, about, it is, I agree with you in some ways that if what's happening is you've got a few younger generations of all the generations, right, who are embracing AI. They are, let's say, almost enthusiastically replacing themselves. In other tasks that help them do what they're doing, and they're gap filler, like I talked about, right, where all the skills that they wish they had that would help them be the complete package on their own, that's what they're using it for. And to your point, Mike, this is a crazy
Can I jump on? I want to just throw to Zakia on this. Zakia has kids. Now, I'm guessing that they fall within this category. I would love to hear if she's still here. Zakia, I think she might have left. But what about you, America? You have an older daughter who was once younger. What's your take on the young perspective? Do you honor it? Do you look for it? Or do you stay in your lane? And you know who your target market is, and it's important to know that.
It is important, and periodically I will spend a little bit of money. It's $10 a month. I will throw at a drip promotion on YouTube to collect the analytics. I'll spend $10 and run a short video or a YouTube video, a random one, and I will give it a $10 budget and run it for 30 days. And I'll get about, 5,000-6,000 impressions. But what I'm really looking for is who's watching my stuff. And when I go into my YouTube studio, that alpha generation, 13 to 17, make up 4.7% of
4%.
my
And they got no money to spend unless they're scratching it off their dad. So, why do you care?
And
Gen
that's
Z,
the,
however, they're in
yeah,
their
and that's the
20s.
right metric.
Got
That's
money.
exactly what to look for. That's right. America, and that's exactly the thing, right? You can put out a video and have 5,000 views, and the person that you're looking for is the one who watched it to the end, right? That's the person that is like, there's my, there's my audience, there's my person. So the more you get into like further, like, oh, they've watched 30 seconds, people watched a minute, how many people watched 2 minutes in, and exactly, if you can get that data, that is fantastic insight into who your audience is. And yeah, of course you want to know, as we're all agreeing, because one, how do you serve them, if that's should be, and to Mike's kind of point earlier, isn't that that should be our goal? How do you do, you want to know those things.
And just for the record, 3.6% of my audience watch my content on TV.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. See, this is so fascinating.
Well done for pulling out that stat. Yeah, I'm glad you pulled out that stat. That was well done.
Yeah.
Did you know that off the top of your head?
No, I'm looking at it now. I'm in my YouTube studio, going over my analytics.
Keith, I think just for the sake of it, I'm going to look. I don't watch YouTube on my TV. Normally, there's been the odd case where, let's say, as with my family, it's like, oh, let's share this clip with everybody, watch it on and it's a brief moment where we're putting YouTube on the TV. But I think just for this, because we've had this whole conversation tonight, I'm going to find this clip. I'm going to load it on my TV just so I can tell you, Keith, I watched us on TV.
I have a 4K TV and 780p. It's not going to look good. I've done it. And it's a 55 or 65 inch TV. So,
but let's pick up on the stats.
It's going to be grainy.
3% of the people that watch, 3% of the people that watch America's shows watch them on TV, which means that 97% of them don't. You could spend some time on those 3%. But it could be a bit of a time sink, and let's make our shows at least 4K for the 3% of people that watch them on their TV, and I just think that's a waste of time.
Good analysis.
Yeah.
So here's another analysis. I produce in 16:9 about 100% of the time. Yet 80% of my viewership comes from mobile.
Oh man! Oh, see, that's a good one. Right. That's a good one.
So that indicates to me that audio is more important, because I don't see 80% of my viewership holding their phone to watch a 16:9 compressed into a mobile device. They're listening, and that's why audio becomes more important.
That's another good read on this. That's a very good read on it.
I can tell you for sure that about 1% of people that read my articles on Substack read them on their phone. And why that's important, it's very important, is that the formatting on mobile doesn't look that good. And sometimes I've spent hours getting the margins right so that it looks good on mobile and looks good on the desktop. And then I realized, 1% of people that read this are on their mobile. What am I fussing about? Like, I'm spending hours and hours of my life for the 1%. Now, there's only so much time in the day. We can't help everyone. And I'm not a generalist. I don't believe in generalism. I'm a specialist. I'm going to be the Substack dude. That's what I'm going to be known for moving forward. I was the Twitter dude, and then it became X, and I left. Now I'm going to become the Substack dude. I don't care about Pinterest. I don't care about TikTok. I don't care about WhatsApp. I don't care about Instagram. I don't. And I don't create content for people that do. because they don't want what I have. I want to be the guy that says that people say, you need to know Substack. I want you to hang out with Keith because he knows all these funky buttons that it has. He's tried them all. I don't want to be a generalist. And that's a decision. That's a very good decision. Zakia, I'd love to hear your thoughts, even if only on the comments. Zakia has said, I'm in the chat, and I'm definitely
not sure she's
pay
with us.
attention. She's not, but she's made a comment in the chat, and the chat doesn't appear. This is a very interesting point. The chat doesn't appear on in Restream, so I've got to read it out. I'm in the chat, and I definitely pay attention to the younger generation because they are usually early in what they call groundbreaking, and they embrace it months before. I'm just paraphrasing that. And this is a very good point, Keith. Become a specialist, not a generalist. So I am a specialist. I'm an Australian guy who's a Substack specialist. I'm not pretending to be from America. I'm not pretending to even care about American politics. I'm an Australian person doing an audio-only show on Substack. Now, if that's of interest to you, then come to my show. If you'd rather see it on Instagram or TikTok, too bad. I'm not there. And I'm not changing. And I think this is a point. Why get a big TV and fuss about 4K for 3 people? Fine if you want a 4K TV, that's your choice. But why fuss about 3 people watching television in the lounge room if there's only 3 of them, when 97% of them are not?
Here's something else I want you to do. I encourage you, Keith, if you don't have a YouTube Studio, upload it to your mobile device and see if you can reverse engineer why 197 people who registered to your LinkedIn event may not be showing up. I'm looking at another interesting stat here that may be one of the underlying causes. I know you don't have a strong appetite for replays, but for instance, I go live 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Those are my optimal times. 33% of my audience are in the UK. So I lose the bulk of my audience every time I stream live at 7 p.m. because they're sleeping.
Yeah. I am aware of this. This is actually very important. What you may have noticed, I think you were with me at the start. I've started, based on your information, I've started spending the first 5 to 10 minutes of the show what I call front loading the show, to say, look, for the first 5 or 10 minutes, if all you've got is time to watch the replay, the first 5 or 10 minutes is all you need to watch, because that's where all the good stuff is. The rest of us is just us having fun and talking to each other, which I would say would be the better stuff, but no one's going to watch a 3-hour video, and I don't mind that. So for the first 5 or 10 minutes, we front loaded all the good stuff, so that if you've only got 5 minutes, just go and watch the replay and it's all there. But you don't get any of the back chat. You don't get any of the really important things. The banter that happens with spontaneity. That's the real power of this show. And I get that not everyone's going to want to watch that, but there's 8 billion people in the world. I mean, I can't help everyone. And and I've got to be honest, I'm starting to get really tired. Like, not just today, but in general. I'm starting to get really sort of sucked into the whole algorithm, and I feel like I'm in the Matrix. I wake up, I'm tired. I go to bed, I'm tired. I'm just exhausted all the time, and I'm thinking, I don't want to live this way. This is what you're talking about, Julian. Let's go and live on the land.
Work for yourself.
I don't want to live that way.
But you're creating the work for yourself, which means you're kind of having fun, right? You're all, and a part of you is loving it, and that's the reason why you're doing it to yourself in some ways, right? Exactly. So
I'm doing the bit
so
I think deal with.
Yeah, if right. Well, that's the beauty of the position that you're in at the moment, right? It's like, I do the parts that are fun to me, and if there's somebody can have a recommendation, and it might be a great recommendation, but if it's not fun to me, it's irrelevant, because at the end of the day, my meal ticket doesn't come from this. I'm doing it as a passion project, and that's a great position to come from. And in some ways, that's part of what makes the content compelling. It goes back to that authenticity.
It's very authentic.
You don't have
isn't it?
to
Like we are
filter yourself.
we are talking passionately
Yeah.
about this topic, and there's no bottom line. I don't mind if someone doesn't ring me and say, "Hey, mate, can you come and do a gig in the city? I'll give you $5,000." If I put you up in a hotel, can
Right.
you come to Jamaica? Which actually did happen. Can you
It
come to
all
Jamaica? Look,
happened,
it was
yeah.
a great thing. But at one point, we were talking about graphics. And one thing that I do love about being good at things is my face gets on a poster a lot. And I'm just wondering, what can we do with these graphics to take it up a notch so that we have compelling graphics that draw people in? How are you doing that stuff, Americo? Can you share that with us? You don't have to tell us the whole shebang, because I want people to pay you to do it, because you're bloody good at it. I don't think I can learn it from you, but can you give us a bit of a masterclass in creating images?
Well, truth be told, AI does most of the heavy lifting. Because as I suggested moments ago, it's about developing and honing the prompting as the engineering skill, the prompt engineering. And YouTube has a fabulous AI tool that's embedded in the studio, and it will give you its interpretation based on your description. And then if you want to prompt it to be more robust, you ask it to draw out a thumbnail drawn from the conversation. It takes a little longer. And if you like the first iteration, great, you use it. Otherwise, it's trial and error. I've been playing around with the prompts, and for me, it's about developing the skill. I appreciate the fact that you're noticing the skills being developed in real time. I'd love to say there's a master class, but right now there isn't. I'm the student just as much as anyone else is.
Well, I could spend an hour just scrolling through all the images you've made for me in the last 12 months. Yeah, I mean, they're compelling. They sort of indicate that this is worth knowing. Have a listen to this. Have a look at this. This is worth diving deeper into. It's a type of branding, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is one of the latest pieces, and it looks a lot better than if you were to look at my earlier pieces. It's even this, you can tell and notice the quality, how much better the Substack one is, even compared to this one. So
they're very good. They're very good. I mean, I'm a very visual person, so one of the reasons I used to go into the city, and probably the only reason, is that I got my face on a poster, and I thought, hang on, that's me. I did that. I'm actually pretty famous. I'm enjoying this, but that was why I mainly did it, just for the sheer ego. I mean, ego and dopamine. But I go into the city for an hour and 9 people turn up. I go online and 18,000 people download the file. I mean, there's no comparison. It's 1,800. Oh, let's be clear, I'm not that famous, but we cover so much ground on these shows that maybe it'd look all right on the TV. I'd be interested to know. It's not 4K. I think it's 1080 though. Is Substack Studios? We can Google that. What would it be? Do you think would it be 720 or would it be 1080?
my guess would be 720.
Yeah, it's even fuzzy on my big screen. So yeah, probably 720. But who knows? Look, 3 hours in, let's wrap it up. Give everyone a chance to talk. If you're listening in from any of the places, last questions, last call. You go first, Americo. You've got so much going on. You've just posted something from a guy who recorded the interview in his backyard with the roosters crowing and the pet cat. So tell us what you're doing and how we can help you get your school moving.
So we are currently sitting at 149 live-minded members. some more active than others, but that's okay. Everyone's moving at whatever pace they're able to. The sheer fact that 149 people are eager to be part of the community is humbling in itself. I'm learning a lot, and I'm trying to share as much as I can, um, and doing it in such a fashion that some of it is free, and I intend to keep it free, and I stand behind it. There's no point in trying to put a price point on something that I can look up online. What I want to do and where I'm taking this, and yesterday I had this, I wouldn't call it an epiphany, but just a transformation, because the more conversations I have, the closer I move to the ideal or the utopic community experience. And I bounced it off you yesterday, where having two tiers set up as virtual studios, whereby one of the paid tiers would be a virtual studio for group conversations, and you can show up, you can be part of a summit. For instance, if I start scheduling theme nights, and if you're a health, wealth, or relationship expert, you sign up, you show up, you say your bit, you talk about your field of expertise. I then upload the assets and send them to you. You repurpose them as you see fit. If you are further along in your journey and you don't want to wear that hat, hey, that's when you come back to me and say, can you repurpose this? Can you redistribute it? And we can have those conversations. But I want to be able to give a stage where people can come in and only have to focus on sharing their message. And then the next studio would be a different experience, where wouldn't be a group setting. You want to host an event, but you don't want to go through setting up your Restream or a StreamYard. You just want to be able to schedule it, show up, talk, and have someone give you the recording. I want to be able to offer that as well. And then, of course, there's the upsells. You want this polished? Do you want me to set up the studio? Or do you just want an audio file? You just show up. Doesn't matter what it looks like. We can clean up the audio, make you sound your best, and you can upload it to wherever you want. That's where I'm starting to move towards. Because to have classes and step-by-steps, hey, here's what you do. Hey, any one of us can go on YouTube and watch a video on how to run a live stream.
I've often thought that if I was a guitarist, say Slash is arguably the best guitarist in the world. Who knows if he wants to teach guitar? If you went to Slash's house and says, "Oh, can you tell me how to do a bar chord?" Mate, can you piss off? I'm recording a solo for the third album, and we're playing tonight. I mean, I've got to get my pants right, and I've got to make sure my hair's washed and I look the part, and I've got to tune 6 guitars. I haven't got time to teach you how to do a bar chord. And this is where I live. I want to do it, and you do it. You are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing it, and you're happy to do it for others. You don't necessarily want to teach others to do it. And that's a different skill.
And listen, if that's what someone wants, hey, I've been a coach, a professional coach in my corporate career. I can lead, support, and develop someone from being where they are and help them meet their goals. I can do that, but I can also upload those assets, and you can watch those videos, or you can watch a replay and watch others do it in real time. And if you have questions, you reach out to me, and I'll say, hey, here's where you go. Here's what I would do differently. Give it a try. If you haven't got much luck, then let's sit down and have a discussion one-on-one.
I love it. I'm telling everyone about it. And every time, you probably noticed, every time I do this, I'm always sharing your images because they're so impressive to me.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you some better images because I got a library of some fantastic images.
And we'll do that. Julian, first things first, we got to get you guys together. You're only up the road an hour. No excuses now. We've got to get you together. But what can we do for you? What's your thing that we can share for you?
Well, right now is the big thing really is studioj.app, and the website is studio-j.app. And my journey has been really, my sort of corporate entity, my agency, JD Nevins Communications, has always been around, and that still exists, and we still provide media production services and that sort of thing. Studio J was originally, the vision of it was a platform primarily for marketing agencies, a little sort of software that would allow a company to run their business from their website directly. Once AI came along, in fact, that project was stalled until AI came along, and all of a sudden AI put fuel on the fire, and this thing that was once limited to agencies has basically become it's a weird place to be honest, because it's become this unbelievably powerful platform that is evolving so fast to the point where just in the last week, I converted all of the bundles to a build your own bundle. You just pick whichever modules you want and add it to the core platform, and you're good to go. I added a reseller program. All of these things are happening at such a pace, and I updated the project management tools to the point where I'm now somewhat saying, looking at, because I've been my big whale, the whale that I've been chasing, because my whole mission is to reduce SaaS subscription rent. That is the thing on the horizon. And I'm starting to hear a lot of people come back and say, I like your messaging. I like that you're saying you kill SaaS rent, because people are starting to confront that pain point that I was predicting from the beginning when I built this tool. And so what's happening now is that it's finally catching on, but the platform itself, in many ways, now I caught that big whale. I've created a project management tool that does not mirror or copy Basecamp. In fact, I've made a bunch of decisions that go in a different direction from them on purpose. But all of a sudden, I've got this tool embedded in my website that has a sort of a real power, and anybody can now own it and buy it. And so I'm getting to the point where that platform will be hopefully completely frictionless and codeless, so that anyone like yourselves who don't want any kind of friction and just want to be able to sort of host this live, they can do that. At the moment, the opportunity and the audience is actually sort of either experienced developers or young developers, aspiring developers, because it's at the moment it's like WordPress. It's like the early days of WordPress, where you could go out and be a WordPress installer, developer, customize a website for someone, put in the right plugins. This is the same concept in many ways. The difference is that it is unbelievably easy and fast to invent your own plugin, define your own workflow, and then have the tool available to you in minutes. And it doesn't have the ecosystem yet. It doesn't have the audience yet. It doesn't have all of those developers yet. And it's a very strange place to be honest, where you're sort of working with this platform that you're starting to feel is functionally competitive with major platforms, WordPress, Wix, Shopify, Monday.com, Basecamp. All of these are just about every single SaaS subscription that I used to have has now been reduced to pennies. I don't subscribe to anything. It's all on my own platform. And there are people now starting to use it and build it on their own websites and create their own ecosystems and worlds with it. A lot of the tools and features, when you talk about image, it's funny, as we have this conversation, a lot of the times I'm like, hey, I've got a tool for that for you. I've got my platform has actually a tool for that. So so I hope people will come out, and there's the other sort of complementary website for that is the whiterobot.com, and that's really intended to be the community. This is where hopefully I'll bring in those young developers and some experienced developers, and they will help each other. That rising tide will help lift all of those ships, hopefully. And hopefully there will be more and more people using this platform, developing on behalf of other people, So that's my those are my plugs, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, no worries. I think we are helping each other. The rising tide rises all boats. You know, we know that we are learning much faster by being totally open and into it than if we're not. Mike, you bring it home for us. What are you doing? Can we help you with? And what's your take on what we've talked about today?
My take, as usual, is it's always fun. I always say that I believe that these conversations are greater than the sum of its parts. I always come away, if with not radically new information, maybe a different view or point of view on that information. I am very interested in building community. So it's something I announced on LinkedIn was, and I haven't started doing it yet, but whether it's in Ripley, whether it's in Discord, it most likely will be in Discord at first. Ripley is a platform very similar to Go Brunch, very immersive. It's going a lot of places. I actually think it might be. I'm going to be bold and say it could potentially, for those that are interested in community building, it could be either the next Discord or the next Zoom. Because of the gentleman that's involved really seems switched on relative to, basically how to do these things. And it provides this immersiveness that it just builds community in almost it is almost like an augmented reality way almost. Okay. I mean, it's still 2D. Actually, I need to talk with the creator if he's interested in creating anything with AR. But what I'm doing musically is I'm continuing to write what I call Mike's tracks. I have backed away from my pro bono work on intros and outros for shows. But I'm open to doing bespoke music tracks for people should they. I actually have. People should just look on my Substack for now. But I have an intake form for people that are in need of bespoke tracks, both from a business perspective or from a personal perspective. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. And like I said, one of the things I'm holding back on is I really want to start doing video because I want to do the same thing with video that I'm doing with my audio. And that's a big ask, in my opinion, because all of my songs are, I write the lyrics, I put a lot of heart and soul into them, which is a whole big, brouhaha about whether AI has soul or not. And I'm like, well, it's my soul, whether AI is doing the vocals and instruments or not. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's good. And you always provide a really interesting point of view that is very different to mine. Because you're obviously a lot more clever than me. To be honest, I don't know what you're talking about most of the time, but that's okay. I'm a guy in my 50s who's retired. I don't need to know. I mean, it's a very unique position to be in. I can do whatever I want, and I think the Slash analogy is actually very relevant to me. I don't know Slash, obviously, but my gut feeling is that if you asked him, would you like to set up a school to teach people guitar, he would say no, because he's touring the world with Guns N' Roses. Like, I'm playing every night. I'm making $1 million to go to Australia for 3 days. Why would I teach kids guitar? I don't want to teach kids guitar. I want to play guitar.
More importantly, if you knew Slash, you'd on like gangbusters. That's really all that matters.
I would, because I would. I mean, I get him. He's probably the greatest living guitarist in the world.
You get him exactly.
But from a creative perspective, Keith, I'm very conflicted because I have no desire to be famous, but I would like some extra coin. And that's and I think I don't think I'm alone in this. By the way, I draw and paint and write poetry and sing, and but I never wanted to be hired to do artwork. And by the way, I've done web graphics, and I got sick and tired of it because the customer never knew what they wanted. And so I don't know. We'll see if this bespoke music stuff goes.
Can you make money in other ways? I mean, if money is the point, there's a zillion ways to make money.
There is, but I'm passionate about this, Keith. I got to get this stuff out. Like some of the songs I'm writing, I'm writing kind of more for myself. It would be nice if people would buy them or listen to them, and I could get paid for that. But that's not the highest on my list. But I think, Keith, in all respect and everything, I think sooner or later this stuff it's not gonna blow over, but it's gonna resolve itself. Yeah. And whether I'm able to make money is just like any other artist is that that's up to me to treat it like a business and promote it and so on. And I will once, like I said, I've been holding back partially because of the lawsuits and then partially because of the video. And if both of those come together, around the same time, I'll be going gangbusters.
Yeah,
I love it. The idea that you can make money out of music would be very
Elon Musk is right. Maybe Elon Musk is right, and the money won't matter in the end. And in fact, exactly that we will all be free to pursue our artistic visions and dreams, and it'll become the age of the artist. I hope it does. It might.
Well, I'm an Aquarian, and we're going into the age of Aquarius.
And Julian, in all fairness, that's what I'm already doing with my family. Like I said, I can't afford to hire, studio time and all that equipment and session musicians, and if I don't want to sing, vocalists, I'm already doing that. So that's already here today for my family, and friends. In fact, one of my friends' mother passed away, and I've offered to do a memorial song for her. I couldn't do that X amount of years ago, and now I can. So we're already partway there. And I'm going to continue, like I said, I'm going to continue to do this for friends and family anyway, whether I can make money or not.
Good.
So
yeah, exactly. I hope that's for everybody, and I love it, and everybody in this room at the moment is kind of doing what they want, not for the money, right? They're doing it because we love what we're doing. I think Americo loves what he's doing with video,
and it's come through, doesn't it? Like
and what he's developing, and you're enthused. Exactly. You're enthused more than you were when you were talking about Twitter days. That's true. I think that's fair to say. Mike's here basically saying, well, I'm staying in my lane and I'm having a good time. And if some extra coin comes out of it, or if the whole world gets to this cashless society and we all have, we just all have distributed incomes from the government, or I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know. But I think it's the right gut instinct that everybody has here, which is, well, okay, I'm going to do what I think is right for me, and this is my lane, and I'm going to walk down that lane. And if the money comes, or if however things sort out, to trust in the process and to trust in ourselves, right? And I suspect that in the long run, trying, experimenting, building, all these things that we're doing, you never know what the dividends are going to be at the end. Actually, it's that's the funny thing, right, about having a vision, is that the end path rarely maps to the path that you envisioned. Yeah. But
it's the journey between it, isn't it?
But you get somewhere. You get somewhere.
Yeah.
And to be frank with you guys, and I'll just end my part of the show on this. Since 24, Americo and Keith hopefully remember this, but I had a quadruple bypass. And I just came to it where we don't know what tomorrow brings or if we have tomorrow. So one of my things, and when I show up on stage, is I want to be present and I want to offer value, not just to the audience but to the team on the stage. I want to be here and provide something in this moment, because as you said, Julian, we don't know where this path will end up, and I keep on saying when we get together. And if we are men of and women of good faith discussion, if we're not trying to tear each other down and provide a bunch of drama for people, which people do for entertainment, but that's not what I'm interested in. I just think this is what I'm here for, is to provide my presence in the present.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now we've cracked 3.5 hours. My body is screaming out that I need food. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm getting hungry. I'm getting tired. So this is part of a 4-part series, Substack Studio Spotlight. If you want to know more about that, go to Where Is Keith Today. What I'll do now is I'll wrap up the show with the theme song, which was created with Suno, and is a little jingly, but I don't mind. I love these little fun things you can sing along with. So this is the end of the part 1. I'll be sending the transcript and the highlights to you all. If you want the video, let me know. That's a deeper file. I can download it and definitely send it to you. I'll be using WeTransfer for that. And let's see if we can create something else from it. And if not, come back next week for part 2. Well, let's see how we go.
Thanks, Keith.
Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Used to juggle apps all night, Zoom calls, edits, nothing felt right. Export this, but don't do that. Too many steps, too many hats. Now I hit record and breathe. Everything I need's in front of me. From my screen to what I say, it's all in one place. One click away, no more stress, no delay. I create my way. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Solo talk or bring a friend. 2 more voices we can blend. Screen share for the things I show. Walk them through it nice and slow. Logo sitting in the frame. Watermark with my name. No more tools to complicate. Everything just integrates. Draft appears when I'm done. Creation just got fun. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. No more record, export, upload. That You're in the game, 1080 clarity, crisp and plain. Audio mode, yeah, that's there too. Podcast dreams are coming through. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if your budget is really tight. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. Whoa. Welcome to the Substack Studio Spotlight. You can now create your own content any day or night. It's fantastic if you're